Okay, we are live and alive. Um, on time too? Question mark? Exclamation point, asterisk, exclamation point. That was me getting it wrong. Realizing, correcting it, and then being certain about the correction. Y'all just saw a true professional at work. How are we doing, chat? How are we all doing on this fine Monday evening? Yes. Boo! Honored Ones on a weekday. How's it feel? How's it feel? Definitely feels a bit bizarre to me. I'm sure. No, I can say for certain it feels just as bizarre to BR.
Yeah, it is a little strange, a little wacky, a little goofy, a little weird. To clock in on a weekday and it not be an Elden Ring stream. Not gonna lie,
Mm-hmm.
gotta be honest. However, we missed Sunday, because I simply put, Creams just wasn't locked in. But I hope
Okay.
you guys are doing good. I hope you guys are doing great. I'm sorry that I personally wasn't able to elevate your Sunday to the upper atmosphere. But hey, we're here to make your Monday better. All right, we're here to talk about
Mm-hmm.
chapters. Got some fun ones out. I mean, obviously the elephant in the room is JJK and Yuji.
Yes, sir.
Gonna love to talk about that. Blue Lock dropped some cool. Kagurabachi, absolute masterclass. Sakamoto did its thing. My Hero did drop a chapter, and yeah, got a lot to talk about. Got a lot to talk about for sure, for sure, for sure. But hope
Mm-hmm.
everybody in here doing good. Hope everybody in here doing great.
Yes, sir. Man, speaking of My Hero Academia, what is it? One more chapter, and that's it. That's a wrap. That's curtains. That's how we feeling on that.
Are we feeling on what exactly?
My
Sorry, I
Hero.
wasn't listening.
I said My Hero Academia being so close to the finish line.
Oh yeah. It's something, bro. It's one of those things where like it's one of those things where like I haven't been in love with every decision Horikoshi has been making for
You?
these past couple of weeks, right? But damn, bro, just knowing my hero's just gonna be done, like Horikoshi's just gonna be done writing it, like damn, bro, you know. I still got strong feelings regarding that series. That shit gonna kind of hurt when I see that last chapter. That's gonna hurt, man. That's gonna hurt. But you know, Horikoshi seems to have been ready to end it, so I'm excited that maybe he can move on to bigger and better things.
Yes,
But yeah,
sir.
I don't know, man. It's kind of a mixed bag because I'm like, I don't feel like I'm going out on the high surprise with My Hero in terms of his ending, but it's also like, I mean, I still like the series, right? The characters, there's a lot of things that really do hit home. Not even hit home, but like just hit in general for My Hero, where I'm like sad. It's a sad day, man. It's a sad day. I'm gonna have to bow my head. I'm not even gonna lie, bro. I might have to take a knee. Might have to take a knee.
uh, I mean, hey, it was a legendary. It was a great run. Horikoshi can definitely be very proud that he left it all on the page.
Mhm.
And I think My Hero Academia is going to be remembered as one of them ones, and hopefully now people will stop calling it a new gen manga.
Listen, man. All I know is Johnny gonna be putting in the work to keep the MHAPR solid. I
Mm-hmm.
just know it.
The
I just
last
know it.
the last embers of My Hero Academia.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you.
But
I'll be
yeah.
here all week,
Uh,
folks.
no, please don't. The Anime Gym Leader, thank you for being a member for 1 year, a whole 12 months.
Whoa.
Thank you for always bringing good vibes every week. Appreciate you. Thank you. Glad that you feel the vibes are good. And thank you for being a member so consistently. Appreciate you. You always be pulling up, giving us updates. So appreciate you. Thank you for just showing up consistently. We really appreciate that. Let's see. Zanutstu, thank you for the 10. Creams, do you want to slander now or during JJK talk?
I
Creams, do you have a point of slander today? Is
yeah,
there
I
something?
did I
Let me check the schedule.
yeah, did
I
I
mean,
promise slander of some kind and forget about
there's
it?
there's the normal slated Hikari slander, but we don't have anything out of the norm. Nothing unusual.
Like nothing important
Um,
enough to pen it in the itinerary.
yeah.
Like,
So
did our assistant add something without us knowing or?
I told Vicky not to add any slander, like once again outside of Hikari stuff,
Hmm.
because like it didn't nothing really. I didn't feel inspired for it, so I don't know. I mean, let me.
I
I'm gonna check. I'm gonna check. I'm gonna check. I'm
yeah,
gonna check.
sounds right.
Because it does seem a little weird scheduling wise, but
Hmm.
we'll get back to you. We'll get back to you for sure. And Dr. Cobalt, thank you for being a member for 2 months. I put all of my stocks into Kagurabachi, and you, sir, are becoming a very, very, very rich man, as I am myself. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Them stocks paying dividends. Yes, sir. But yeah, so to just dive right into My Hero, for starters,
Mm-hmm.
the chapter, I guess, for like the first half, really just focuses on Deku and Uraraka kind of reconciling, sort of their mainly Uraraka's what's the word I'm looking for? Trauma, guilt,
Mm-hmm.
pain, surrounding Toga's death, specifically like the nature of which he died, and like I guess their conversations beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that was fine. It was cool. I can't be too mad at it. Um, I don't think it was like it wasn't particularly touching. Horikoshi didn't dip into his bag in this chapter, at
Mm-hmm.
least super deeply in regards to this. I do feel like I'm like, this is cool. This is cool. This is a cool little chapter. Cool little vibe. But it was solid. It was solid in concept. I think in execution it was all right. It did what it needed to do. Do I think the prior stuff that this is built on is the best? Maybe, maybe not. But I think when looking at this chapter in isolation, I think it's fine. Personally, I could do to see with this sort of plot line. Like I personally, I look at like guilt and trauma plot lines requiring more time for a character to really sit with and resolve it. That might just be me and
Mm-hmm.
how I like to see these things handled as a viewer. But I mean, for what it is, I think it was fine. I think it was cool. It kind of being revealed that the embers of One for All are all that Deku has left for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Seems to, I don't know. I don't know if Horikoshi's locking it in that Deku is going to be working next to SpongeBob at the Krusty Krab, but it is just, hey man,
Have a
it's where
plus
we're at.
ultra day.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's interesting. The latter half of the chapter was one of those things that was like cool conceptually,
Mm-hmm.
and even in terms of its in chapter execution, I'm like, I could stomach that. But I feel like it just built on some stuff that it's entirely it's built on the premise of Deku versus Shigaraki
Mm-hmm.
being handled well. It's built on
Like the
kind of everybody
ideological
getting the point.
conflict. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to get the point that like, okay, like a hero is not what the world needs. The world needs people that are willing to step up
Mm-hmm.
when the time arises. And in that regard, I think this chapter makes that clear. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's just more so that it's hard to look at this in a very like isolationist mindset, because it's like, dude, it the point heavily relies on things that came prior, so it's a little tough. I'll say it was cool though. It was fine. I overall I think this chapter was cool. I don't. I think that last page hits a little bit like heroes having time to kill. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's a very nice sentiment. For the penultimate chapter, I will say I'm so desperately curious to see what this last chapter is, man.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it's a longer one. It probably won't be, since Horikoshi still has to abide by his like weekly formula. He doesn't seem to be taking a big break before it or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I don't know if it's because
but
he's eager or just like ready to kind of end it.
yeah, just
Um,
close the proverbial chapter in his life here. But I thought the chapter was good enough. Like I don't really hate it in any regard. I don't really love it in the sense that I don't think there's much to particularly feel super strongly about.
mm-hmm.
But I think it was solid from start to finish. I think it's fine. It's about how I feel about
I did.
this sort of last section of it in general.
That's fair. I found the last interesting of this My Hero Academia chapter kind of fascinating, because that the last line was "Heroes will have time to kill." Reminds me of
Hmm.
Hawks when he was introduced,
Hmm.
and I kind of wonder why Hawks's specific mindset and philosophy was the one being called back to on this chapter. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe it ties in with Deku's embers, kind of on the tail end of their journey there. Maybe it's Uraraka, coming to terms with Toga's death. But if this is Horikoshi's way of saying, yeah, they're gonna take a fucking break, then I'm not gonna get in their way. But if it's something deeper than that that leads into the last chapter, I do wonder if maybe where like Hawks's philosophy was meant to be emphasized a lot more throughout the series, and this is supposed to be like a little thing to end it all off on. Because I remember that scene being like kind of dubious, when it first dropped, because everybody was like uncertain about Hawks as a character and as a person in My Hero. So it was like a, oh wait, that's seriously all you want, and now it feels like a full coming to All Might moment.
Like the All Might moment. Yeah. Yeah. I think the chapter is cool. I'd give it like a smooth 6.5, 7 out of 10. Like it was fine. It was cool. I can't be mad at it. There were a lot of cool concepts in there that I feel like if we were talking about maybe a different lead up to them, I'd be feeling a lot more strongly. But you know, Horikoshi hits some of the notes that I feel like he intends to, and that's all right. That's enough to get that score out of me.
And that's all you can reasonably ask from him, I think, at this specific juncture.
Yeah, unless you want him to pull like a Yusuke Murata and start rewriting shit. I mean, you know, you can just work with what you work with the foundations that you have for yourself, and that's about it.
Yeah.
But that was cool. That's all right.
Telling Horikoshi the beach can wait is crazy.
Huh. Yeah. Let's see. On to
cool 6
Sakamoto Days.
Sorry. Cool 6 out of 10 for me as well.
Got you. Cool. So on to Sakamoto Days. I think this chapter was cool. That's about where I feel. I feel like we're still in the we kind of moved out of the
flashback,
like backstory phase, and we're moving into the next arc setup. Sakamoto, Shin, like we Nagumo, Heisuke, they all seem to be kind of in a next phase sort of stuff. Sakamoto's like, I need to get back to my glory days. That's sick. I'm excited to see what that looks like. Shin is like, bro, I need intense training to even fight an order member. That's real. Get in the gym, get your weight up, buddy.
Yep.
Heisuke, literally the same thing. I guess not get your weight up, bro. I don't know, train your eyes or something. But I like it. This is a functionally cool setup chapter. Obviously, the chapter got exponentially better once Nagumo showed up on screen, started getting to work, cutting off heads, you know, looking at Kendaka. You know, it was cool. Kendaka waking up. Amen. Come on, let me. And immediately alert. What's the situation? Is crazy, bro. Yeah, You've been in a coma for years. What do you mean? What's the situation?
These assassins are built so fucking different, man. Like it's so uncanny every single time, because it's so like normal spy thriller for like a cool couple chapters, and then they'll do superhuman shit, and you're like, oh right, Shin has telepathy. Oh right, like a guy curved a bullet off a sword. That's on me, right? That's I won't do that again. And then you inevitably do that shit again on your podcast.
Of course. But yeah, Nagumo was cool. I'm curious to see if Kendaka will be someone that helps maybe Nagumo hit the weight room, or if like it seems to be the case that like Sakamoto's thinking if only I had a master transitioning right into Kendaka, like it'll be a Kendaka Sakamoto sort of training thing. But I don't know. I'm curious. I'm interested. It was a nice setup chapter. I don't think there was anything too crazy here in terms of like things that were set up that I maybe didn't expect, or that like haven't already been established in the story. Feels like a lot of a reminder and slight progression into the this is what's next for the quote unquote, not even quote unquote good guys, because like
just
Rion and like Akira are here, but it's just set up for like
the main cast.
This group of characters, so that's cool. That's fine. It was cool. It was a cool little chapter. I give it like a 7, personally speaking.
That's fair. Nice little setup thing. Didn't close the book on the flashback, open the book on the next phase. Nice little transitionary thing. I'm gonna give it a smooth, cool, clean 7.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Being locked in the second you wake up, though, kind of crazy, kind of nice.
He's just like me, for real.
So I will say, would this be the first Sakamoto Days training arc we get if we do get one here? Like,
dude, I'd be so down, man. Especially for Sakamoto himself, just to see this dude, like, I don't know, pull a train behind him or whatever the hell he's gonna do. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah. I'd be
I need Shin to polish up that Gios for real though.
I'd be really excited to see how each individual character trains, like what Heisuke's training would look like, Shin's, Sakamoto's especially. And the one that would interest me above all else is Nagumo, TBH. I really need that. I really need that. Nagumo, I'm not even saying you need the training, because let's be real, you don't. You're the GOAT, no glaze. But like,
Nah,
hit
that
the weight room
glaze.
for the fan service, bro. Hit the weight room for the fan service, bro.
Is there...
Hit the weight room for the fan service. I need that.
Ashberry, and thank you for the 5. I figured out the dynamic. Ronan is Deadpool, the tall Joker with a sword. Creams is Wolverine, the short, angry one.
Real. Appreciate you, King. Appreciate you, Ashberry, on
Is
for the
that-
5 and for the stunning compliment. Thank you.
Is that real?
I mean, I'm taller than you, so it's got to be real. And you're closer to being Canadian than me.
That's so crazy.
And you're older, so all of the puzzles, or all the pieces of the puzzle fit, bro. Wolverine's older, shorter, angrier.
I have never been angry about anything a day in my life.
Pull up the Elden Ring clips. Pull up the Cuphead clips. Pull up the Dying Light clips. Pull up the clips about Trash Taste. Just pull up the clips. Just pull up the podcast. Actually,
Damn,
just pull up the podcast. I've never been angry about anything. Oh my god.
I hate that you're speaking in categories and not specific instances. Oh my god.
Oh shoot! Listen,
Like,
chat.
each one of them would be in the dozens.
Give me a super compilation of every time he's hated on torrent, and but I've never been mad about anything. I'm sick. Disgusted.
Bro, why do you let some lies rock and then other ones you just take too personally? You just can't let it slide. What's the,
It's just bro.
like what's the criteria?
It depends on how invested I am, bro. Like, so some of the lies you be telling are like egregious, bro. Like if you were to say, "Oh, I'm funny," I'm like, "I want to slide." Right? I can see how you think that kind of thing. But if you're like, "Oh, I'm tall," all right, bro. Now I'm taking personal issue, because it's like, how dare you, bro? That's stolen height valor.
Because, bro, you even did it before call. Like, you were indifferent for like a good chunk of my shenanigans, and the second I used one weird metaphor, you went outside to prove me like you touched grass, bro.
I don't fuck with misogyny or racism, bro.
Oh
I'm
my
not letting that shit
god!
slide.
Oh my god!
I'm sorry. I just don't fuck with it, bro. When you're trying to stand on bigotry, I'm kicking you off that shit immediately, bro. I just won't allow it. Nexus, thank you for being a member for 10 months. I got clips on Ohara creams. Like, bro, I forgot a category. Crazy. I forgot a category in the creams anger compilation. But yeah, needless to say, you get angry all the time and are short, bro.
Oh my god. Okay.
That's you. That's you.
Can I just say something in my defense?
You don't have claws or healing factor or a cool.
Can I just say something in my defense? All right.
I'll allow it.
Standing on bigotry is a crazy little change up you did, and all I heard was it said in the voice that I told you I hate. Here, I'll type it out. So like.
All right.
I wish I could type faster. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, no, bro. That's the way I meant it too, but that's authorial intent.
Oh god, you're disgusting.
But yeah,
why did you do
bro,
that to me, bro? How could you do that to me?
You were racist like 10 minutes ago.
Oh my god. Whatever.
Zenitsu, thank you for the 10. You're never angry creams. Glaze of horror for 2 minutes.
For
yeah,
10
that's not happening, bro.
$10. All right, bro. You're laced.
and also, bro, you don't even have to like I can just link you the 5-minute super cut of him just glazing. So it doesn't even really matter. In any case, let's see. Sakamoto Days, pretty good. I rocked with it. It was cool. It was cool. I'm not mad.
Smooth little shaven 7. Someone bring up the Pluto clips. Oh yeah, my Urasawa stuff. Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
I forgot that I did that.
Yeah, bro.
Oh, and Chainsaw Man.
I completely forgot. Chainsaw Man dropped the chapter? What? Since when?
No.
Don't Chainsaw Man drop tomorrow?
Yeah.
Or on Tuesdays in general?
I guess.
Also, hold on. Whistle time.
What?
Since when have you known us to talk about? Not you.
Oh.
Like B-God. Oh, since when have you known us to talk about Chainsaw Man, bro?
Bro was watching.
When's the last time we did that?
Bro, is this a Mandela effect?
Bro,
like, was he watching a?
Bro's watching the Dishonored Ones podcast, bro. Like what? He tried. I was thinking, I was like, there's no way Chainsaw Man dropped a chapter today. It didn't. And I'm being gaslit into thinking that we even talk about him. We don't.
Bro's watching Honored Ones on Earth too.
Oh, yeah, that's crazy. Also, Creams wouldn't be able to talk about Chainsaw Man Part 2 anyway. But regardless, Sakamoto Days was cool. My Hero was cool.
You know what's funny? I
don't know.
I'm fully caught up.
Yeah, no, that's not what I meant.
Oh my
I just meant your opinions on Chainsaw Man are invalid. Well, but yeah. Anyways, I don't know if you want to go get tea or like.
Oh, you're doing
sneak up.
Kagurabachi?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's time for the Kagurabachi sermon.
All right, I'm gonna stand in front of my
yes,
AC
sir,
for a
sir.
bit.
Yeah, do your thing. All right, chat. I know. The first 20 minutes been boring as hell. We've been letting that other guy yap. All right, but it's time. Everybody, open up your Kagurabachi volumes. Open up your Kagurabachi volumes to chapter 43. Thank you. This week's chapter was excellent, divine, stupendous, just expeditiously good. Drastically different from what we've been seeing before, which is already amazing. But on a real note, this chapter, we pick up with Chihiro continuing to basically reach everybody inside the subspace so that we can go in and get on out of here, save every single person. Super locked in. I really liked this sequence. I can imagine it getting animated. You always hear about people picking like sequences that they imagine getting animated, and I can just imagine like a almost like a superhero kind of rescue choreographed sequence where your hero just like bouncing between the rubble with Nishiki activated, just saving each individual person. I need that, bro. I need that. There are very few things where I'm like, you know what, bro, Hokuzono, I needed more elaboration. This is a very small moment, so it's not like an actual criticism, but it's just one of those things where gimme, I'll take it for sure. But I think the star of this show was very obviously Kiora. I think that this chapter was basically dedicated to him and his character and wrapping him up in a way that makes a lot of sense. I think that I will say this. I'm going to be honest, right? Kiora was a very solid antagonist to me for quite a while, right? Like, I think while he was very different from Sojo, he had a bit of an aura about him that was a little bit quite different from Sojo's more like psychotic, erratic, like very aggressive sort of style of presentation that Hokuzono went for. But it was very cool. It was the calm, calculated, very intelligent, very dedicated sort of demeanor that antagonists can have, and I rocked with it. But until this chapter, I couldn't see people preferring this guy to Sojo. And while I personally think that Sojo's charisma and personality just puts him over the top for me as a villain, I can't be mad at people putting Kiora over him or even saying that they're comparable now, because Hokuzono absolutely fucking nailed it with this guy, man. Just him remembering talking to his wife, remembering those family meals, and shattering it all with the gavel. Thinking back on all of that and even still deciding, nah, fuck that, proceed. Because in all honesty, that's all he has left, man. Regardless of whether or not he wanted to reclaim that sort of that paternal duty, or even just like duty as a husband that he may have had in the past, it's too late. All he's got left is the Rakuzaichi. All he has left is proceeding. He just has to keep moving forward, keep proceeding, as has become a meme amongst fans, and that's it. That's it. And he holds out into the very end, remaining himself and not being taken over by the Shinichi. And I'm not gonna lie, that last page, that was real, bro. That was real. This was solid. I was talking to Tessera after this, right? And one thing that I said that I found really, really cool about this chapter in terms of like the way he goes out is that it's ironic in a really interesting way that he failed as like an auctioneer. He failed the Rakuzaichi because he neglected Hakuri. And that neglect of Hakuri only happened because of how dedicated he was to the Rakuzaichi. Like, there was no future, no reality, no alternate timeline in which Kiora really got things right because his priorities inherently meant he would discard anybody that wasn't immediately useful to him and the proceeding, right? He couldn't have value to Curry because Curry didn't show him anything that could help and assist the family lineage, the sorcery being passed down, and this thing that is so important to him and generations past. And because he couldn't possibly have cared about Curry, he could not have possibly ever continued this and actually succeeded in his goal. And I think that it's man, there's something really bittersweet about that. Something really great about that. Him even recognizing how wrong he was, almost selfishly. I would. There's multiple interpretations you can have, but him realizing, damn, bro, I'm the one that failed. I failed my duties. I messed up. And I like that it is in both regards. He failed as a father and he failed the Rakuzaichi. It's not that he just failed one or the other. He failed both because he failed the other one. The Rakuzaichi fell through because he wasn't an adequate father, and he wasn't an adequate father because of the Rakuzaichi. Hey man, that's cinema to me. That's cinema to me. Hakuri and Kiora looking at each other needed that. The letting down of the blade and that final page, goddamn, Hokuzono. Honey ain't enough, bro. It's liquid gold time. We giving you the upgrade, brother. We giving you the upgrade. We'll get the platinum out in a bit, but liquid gold for now. All right. That shit was crazy. I'm locked, bro. And Zenitsu, thank you for the 10 once more. This chapter was peak fiction. I mean, I feel like I've been saying this about basically every Kagurabachi chapter for like the past 20. But goddamn, Hokuzono, you cooked. You're a genius, a prodigy, wise beyond your years. Goat activities. Holy shit. Let this man cook. 10 out of 10 chapter. I was really rocking with it. That was fantastic. That was phenomenal. Yeah, Kagurabachi. This should mean something to me, man. This should mean something to me.
I'm just very happy for you. Use the big C word on it. Yeah, you must be really moved.
Yep.
Moved. Why did I say that so weird? Moved.
Don't know. You're just a weirdo. Google me. Thank you for the 5. Y'all been seeing Hokuzono's author comments. First he wants to be Batman, and now he's excited to see the boys. Me thinks a superhero arc is coming. I'll do a backflip, bro. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. Don't get me hype, bro. Let me relax. But yeah, bro is a Batman fiend. That's dope. That shit's hard. You can tell. you can see it, bro. It all makes sense. Look at the color pages. Look at some of his framing for Chihiro in general. Yeah, it makes sense. It tracks. Hey man.
Did you read Ashbarian's thing?
No, not yet, because it everything else just flowed into the chapter. So, okay. But yeah, God damn, and Ashbarian will get to you in a second. I promise. Just let me finish it off with this. Cow, thank you for being a member for 7 months. The last time Jump had first 2 villains in a story this well written was Naruto with Zabuza into Orochimaru. Generation will do all of this in 40 chapters. See. After I read the chapter, I was telling Liv the same thing. I said, we've really only seen one other story this quickly, and this like bop hop into 2 great villains like that. And the last time I can think of it, really, truly and genuinely, is Naruto, right? Especially with the quickness of it. A lot of other series take a little bit of time to get to, right? Some even have a stinker before they get to, right? Mm-hmm. But 40 chapters, two bangers. Yeah, bro. Hokuzono, you. I fuck with you, go. I fuck with you. I appreciate you. But yeah, let me go back to you, Ashbarian, real quick. Mm-hmm. Thank you for the 5, and thank you for your patience. Okay, Ronan, hear me out. Look up Riley Lynellet and tell me I'm not crazy for thinking she'd be a perfect Dahlia casting for Percy Jackson. All right, hold on. Let me do my Googles. Give me 1 second.
I see people are fan casting her as Cassandra Cain Batgirl. That's very interesting. How'd you wouldn't
yeah. Ashbarian, I kind of see the vision. I might kind of see the vision.
You know what, bro?
I might kind of see the vision.
Give her the leather jacket or
high key, like
let her cook.
That might You had a vision and I'm seeing it, bro. You had a vision and I'm seeing
Let's
it.
hope the casting directors see it.
Yeah. Um, let's see. James Metcalf, thank you for the 10. Hi, Honored Ones. Long time listener, first time super chatter. Appreciate you.
Hmm?
It wasn't a mistake. Kira died from Chihiro due to an enchanted blade. That be Chihiro if he stayed fresh up on hatred stuff. Yeah, I think it's interesting that every time like one of his major antagonists have died, like even some of the more side character ones, they don't die because of like Chihiro inflicting wounds. Like Sojo didn't die like that. He tried to
Oh.
barehanded, which is what?
Oh, you cut out for a sec.
Oh. Sojo grabbed the Datenseki barehanded, which is what you know, what the enchanted blades are fueled by, made out of. So it's interesting that he died in that way. Kiora dying because of Shinuchi just kind of like overloading him entirely. And I mean, it's just really interesting, man. It's really interesting that it just seems to be the case that Chihiro is like very constantly confronted with, despite him mitigating a lot of it and using the enchanted blades to sort of like to limit the extent to which they're able to do damage. It's like these things are weapons of mass destruction through and through. The Shinuchi, most of all, Tenri even dying because of like a Datenseki enchanted blade foe awakening, not because of any attacks that Chihiro really did. Really poignant, really interesting. I'm curious to see where Hokuzono goes with this in the long term, because I imagine that Chihiro's I wonder how long it's going to be before he has to give himself a real hard look about like how he perceives his father's blades and like their role in the world in the first place. I imagine that we're going to be getting something like that. Maybe in the far future, maybe in the near future, but I definitely can foresee that. So I'm really excited. Hokuzono seems to be pretty consistent with it. I hope Chihiro picks up that blade immediately and dips. I don't imagine he will, but for whatever reason. But I sure hope so, man. Pick that shit up and, hey, bro, Shiba, get us out of here. Like, but I don't know. We'll see. In any case, fantastic Kagurabachi chapter. I literally couldn't have asked for more from a conclusion for Kiora. This shit was great. Fantastic. I'm fucking with it. I love it.
Yay!
So
You love to see it.
Yep. Let's see. Do we think John Hishaku is grabbing the Shinuchi next chapter? That's kind of my guess. If only for like plot reasons. Like if Chihiro gets, well, no, because the Shinuchi could still be inactive or like pretty unusable. But I don't know. I'm not really sure. I imagine that it's probably going to be either we're going to see conflict with Hiyuki over it. I could definitely see that. Or just like the Kamunabi in general, just being like, yeah, bro, thanks for all that hard work. We'll take that off your hands. Appreciate you, buddy. So I could see something like that. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on Kagurabachi this week. Very good, very good, very good.
You love to see it. You love to see it. Most expected 10 out of 10 every week. All right. Darklaw, thank you for being a member for 10 months. Proud if Yuji flipping Sukuna off for his domain as Hikari flips burgers with the head chef.
That's W slander, bro. I appreciate you. And yeah.
Bro, I think that conversation
in,
last week / that short kind of awakened the inner Hikari hate for a lot of people. So congratulations, man. Big moment for you.
Type shit. But yeah. Cool. Let's see.
Blue Lock?
Blue Lock
Yes,
chapter.
sir.
Blue Lock chapter. Blue Lock. Bro, Rin is so weird.
He's so weird.
Rin is such a weirdo. It's so funny.
I didn't think he was gonna be that weird, to be honest with you. I was not prepared for him to be like, bro, it's just the monsters are so. I didn't expect him to be Soccer Garo. Like, hey, bro, he knows what he wants, I guess.
Yeah.
Bro said, I want to be the predator. Okay, man. Okay.
I think this is a really interesting chapter. I don't really know what to make of it as quickly as I do with some other chapters, mainly because I can't say I get it to the same extent. One thing I will say though is that I really like Rin kind of realizing this and immediately going up against Kaiser, specifically because of Rin saying like you know, like it seems like the level of and every blue locker that's made it this far like views it as life or death in some way, shape, or form. Like
Mm-hmm.
they take it extremely seriously, right? But it's more so that like Kaiser looks at football not only as like a way to like affirm his existence or whatever, right? But like also you can kind of imagine that it's also like a preventative measure of going back to that lifestyle. Whereas Rin kind of strikes me as like almost like a burn, like he almost like aspires to be like a burnout, sort of like what Neiman
From
wanted to
Whiplash.
be in Whiplash,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where it's like I'd rather be I'd rather be dead and 30 and everybody know me versus like live to 90 or whatever and not mean anything or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how I've interpreted Rin's um Rin's ideals with football, like very much meet something that is at my level or even beyond it that I can't even overcome and just give it my all and like where the cards lie. But I don't know.
I mean,
I'm like I think my opinion on not even my opinion per se, but like my reading of this chapter is pretty heavily dependent on the next one, just because
how
maybe
he
there are
acts on it.
some real blue lock scientists in here. Not even how he acts on it. It's more so like, well, I guess how he acts on it is definitely like a part of it, but it's more like, what is this? What does this mean outside of the analogy? Because all of
Mm,
this is like, with all of these instances, like, it is blue lock is very heavily reliant, as many sports manga are, on like analogies, right?
mm-hmm.
Soccer is life. Soccer is death. Soccer is self-expression. It's a game. It's like a video game. It's this. It's that. It's that. Right. And a lot of times I'm able to parse what the analogy means, like what it converts to. But with Ren, it's a little bit more difficult, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I don't mind having to wait a little bit on that, but it is simply to say that it is taking a little bit more of it's taking a little bit more time to
To cook.
gestate
Yeah.
and roll it under my head a little bit because it's definitely weird, definitely strange. But I'm curious to see how it looks and how it acts in function. But with that being said, I'll hand the reins over to you. I'll be right back.
As for my feelings on the chapter, I feel very similar, but I think Rin not only reminds me of Garo from One Punch Man, but in a, I guess, more tonally appropriately or inappropriately, depending on how you look at it, way. He also reminds me of the prisoners from Baki, where they're all like, "I want to know defeat. I want to taste defeat." Um, there's this element of like self-destructiveness to the ambition, to the desire to like be strong, and in the case of soccer, go up against a strong player or strong team, and ultimately give everything you have and still taste defeat. And I wonder what the mileage is on Rin satisfaction, like because we've seen him take losses before in the series, and it's not like he's taken them in stride, and it's also not like the other person cheated or did anything that was directly um, unfair to Rin's vision. Maybe he just didn't know about it, within its full scope, and that's why he just didn't know how to process it or didn't know that's necessarily what he wanted. It could also be, just kind of spitballing. It could also be the fact that Rin hadn't unlocked or come to terms with his Blau Rin mode, his animal predator nature, and I wonder if after awakening it or after coming to terms with it or developing it more in this game, if he feels like he's fully up to the terms and conditions of his ideal, right? Like, was he ill prepared to lose before coming to terms with himself and before this moment? Or was he always prepared but just didn't know he was, and that's why like he acted the way he acted? I personally think it's the former. I think after he realized this is like who he was and what he wanted, and his eyes fucking went black, then it's basically like all right, I'm ready to like die about my conviction from when I was a kid. So like, let's do this. Beat me at my best type shit.
Yeah. Um, what he said probably. Um, but yeah, I like this Blue Lock chapter. It's a little bit of more of an ambiguous like. I think this is one of the first Blue Lock chapters in a while where I'm like, this could actually be better or worse, depending on next chapter to me.
I mean,
But this is cool. I fucked with it. I rocked with it. I enjoyed it.
I want to.
Weird ass backstory.
It is a weird ass backstory. I do want to amend one thing though. For me, it's not just like the next chapter, but it's more of a. I want to see how Rin acts in the face of victory or defeat, specifically defeat. Because if he's like, okay, I want an opponent that I give everything to, and then still lose or whatever, like the monster. If he does lose, and his reaction isn't anything but like yes, satisfaction. I wonder how this is going to fit into him as a character, whether that means that's kind of the end for him, or whether that means he's going to be like, you know what? Why doesn't the monster win sometimes?
It could be. Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I'd be interested. Let's see. Let me see. I am curious to see. This will be like one of the first times I think we have like an awakened kind of Kaiser and Rin going up against each other. So I'm curious to see how he stacks up.
Also, technically,
in that regard,
an awakened Isagi too, right? Just kind of sandwiched in there.
Yeah. I'm sure Isagi will kind of come in maybe if Kaiser gets burned or even if Rin gets burned. But I think that Rin kind of passed Isagi up here, hence the matchup. But we'll see. Let's see. Shadowstar, thank you for being a member for 6 months. Sukuna actually climbed the ladder, but he better watch out because Hikari about to climb the Whack Donald's corporate ladder. Trust. Yes, sir. The McDonald's Whack Donald's, my fault. Yeah. Corporate ladder.
I like that.
Dude, Hikari's so lame. Goddamn.
What do you think? Do you think Geike's gonna cut back to Arame versus Hikari at like a funny time, or just like when Sukuna is defeated? Because imagine how funny it would be if Sukuna's just like gone and he's like, "All right, guys, the moment you've all been waiting for, Hikari time."
BBH. At this point, I don't think there's a point in cutting back to it. Like hater shit aside, like dead ass, right? Mm-hmm. I'm putting my dislike for Hikari aside. I'm thinking about what narrative value comes from showing us that fight instead of just like the result of it now, right? Like genuine question. Like that's you could say interesting choreography or whatever, but I don't believe that personally. I don't think, generally speaking, I don't think Hikari it would be as interesting as Arame could carry, which is debatable, right? And then in terms of like narrative, I just feel like we're kind of beyond the point where Hikari joining the fight would mean much. Not in terms of practicality, because any able-bodied person coming in here and fighting Sukuna is like a good thing, right? But like in terms of what does Hikari represent that we think that Sukuna hasn't been confronted with and needs to be confronted with in the future, right? And to be completely honest, I don't think there's much. Once again, that could be some of the blinders on people that fuck with Hikari could maybe have some things that happen in their mind there, but I could almost see a reason for Arame like off screening. Once again, I'm just floating ideas by kind of like exploring hypotheticals here, but I think there's something to be said about Sukuna losing before he actually dies because he requires Arame's help. You know what I mean? Yeah, if Arame's like, if Yuji's like, come on, Sukuna, I'm taking you to hell, right? And Arame's flash freezes the domain, shatters it, whatever, right? Bro, I think there's something to be said about Sukuna's ideals crumbling well before he does, in the sense that, no, you actually couldn't handle this alone.
Yeah, Sukuna. The power of friendship, you needed that shit. Yeah,
you needed the cooperation that is like very integral to the heavy hitters, to the Shinjuku showdown forces. Like, that same shit applied to you when it mattered most, right? You needed that too, and I'm glad you needed that before we kill you. But it's one of those things where like you lose mentally before you lose physically or whatever. That's maybe something I could see as a result of that. But in all honesty, I don't think that even that end goal doesn't require that we see Arame beat Hikari.
That's fair. You know, it's weird. I've always held the belief that if Sukuna was ever to, falter in his ideals, it would just kind of be a regression for him. Like, he would lose, powers, resolve. Like, it would just be essentially poison to his entire state of being. And it was originally stemmed when we didn't understand what Sukuna's body was, whether that was like a product of his awakening or a thing that just happened to him in the womb. And it seems like Gege confirmed it was the womb thing, but it's always for me been predicated under the fact that like Sukuna is able to do what he does because he is consistently engaging in those beliefs that he has so resolutely, if that's even a word. But if he ever is like, Arame, help, or Arame pulls up like, shall I save you, Sukuna, and he takes her hand, then I wonder if he's just gonna two arms just like retreat back in his abdomen or some shit.
Yeah, I mean, the way I see it is that like Sukuna doesn't have ideals out of sort of
like conviction,
lack of necessity.
Oh.
I mean, conviction, sure, but when he goes on his monologue, right, when he's hating on Yuji or whatever, he kind of implies or even outright says that, like, I've never needed ideals, right? I've never needed to have conviction. There's nothing that's forced that, right? He's never had to believe shit. It's like, oh, something that contradicts my worldview, cut, slice, die, right?
Burn,
or subjugate, right? Like, there's never been, not that there's never been adversity for Sukuna, but there's never been adversity that could not be very easily and enjoyably taken on, right? Yuji kind of represents the first act of that. So I don't even know if I think Sukuna would be troubled by it mentally, and he would probably just get like that break that Yuji gave him to think about his bullshit in the beginning of the fight would not be given. This Yuji, let Sukuna stop moving his let Sukuna stop moving his feet for half a second right now. He's getting hit with the meanest soul dismantle the world has ever seen, bro. But yeah, I
imagine Sukuna, like, Yuji lands a couple blows on Sukuna straight up, like soul shakers, right? Quakers, if you will. And he's just going off, right? He's just going off and off and off. And then, like, Sukuna transforms back into Megami, but Yuji doesn't stop punching. He's like, damn, bro, it's me.
Yeah, bro, chill. Bro, motherfucker, I am half as tall, half the limbs. What are we doing here?
Yuji couldn't stop, look at him and be like, all right, and then go back to it. Like,
and nah, bro. I will say though, one thing, because I was just thinking about like, because I was trying to like, maybe there's a flaw in like that hypothesis with Arame, because like Arame helped Sukuna before, but I think it would be Sukuna knowing that he could not have gotten out of there. Like he started this fight, this whole gauntlet run at the height of his powers, right? Like in that fight, Megumi suppressing him, right? All right, and he's still not really pressed like that. Like he's not having the easiest time, but he's clearly, his life is in any immediate danger, right? But he started this whole thing at full power, right? He started this whole thing with all of the cards he could have possibly had stacked in his favor. Not like on some cheating shit, but just more so like he started at basically peak condition. And if there's a point in which Arame interferes and he realizes, phew, I was gonna die, I think that would be the tipping point. It would be the like, because I think it would allude to what he said to Yorozu, like losing his death, right? Like I don't care what you do with my corpse after it, because like I don't care what you do with my body after if I lose, because it doesn't mean anything, right? It's like what's all right, bro.
What's done
like,
is done.
Yeah, what's done is done. Like I don't even, if I lose, I'm dead. Like fuck you.
What's that got to do with me?
Yeah, so that's kind of how I view it, and that's really me kind of stretching it. I don't know. I mean, there could be something with Arame and Hikari narratively, in terms of their battle, but I don't know. Hikari is just one of those characters to where like I can hate aside, like if I become a different person and have different values, I can understand why people fuck with him, right? He's like Toto light, right? He's like a hype beast. He has unique abilities, whatever, right?
But he's just,
and he has his own theme music. But like he doesn't have the thing is he doesn't really have, at least in my opinion, a very like strong narrative core. Like what is, and it's not a criticism of his character, because I don't think Gege really intended to make Hikari like that, right? But
wait, you think Hikari was just accidentally too cool for school? Like you think he was originally supposed to be
too cool is crazy. No, I think some characters are just meant to be, like, some characters don't have to be integral to like the crux of the theme, is basically what I'm getting at, right? Like I don't think every character in the story is meant to or has to be indicative of what JJK is supposed to be on the whole,
Mm,
right? Um, I think Akari is probably meant to represent more of a power system aspect, a mentality aspect of sorcery,
mm-hmm,
kind of maybe following up the sorcerers or con artists, kind of like that gambling luck, blah blah blah.
mm-hmm.
Maybe it was set up for all of the shit Sukuna would be doing to really prime us for accepting that. But I don't know if I think when I think Akari, I'm like, okay, Yuta in love and humanity and how that interacts with foregoing his morals. Yuji, pretty similar thing structurally. Um, Maki rejecting the standards of like what Jujutsu is. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Toto being a true sorcerer. All these characters, I kind of like off the dome come up with like what their narrative core is, what their when they exist, what Gig is trying to make me understand more about the series. With Akari, it's like power system. That's about it.
Mm.
But I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know.
listen.
Personally, not hate. I don't think it makes him a worse character. I don't like him, duh. But I don't think Hikari not being integral to the theme of JJK is some like fucking cardinal sin. I think
Mm.
it's fine, but it's just an interesting thing.
I mean, like it's fair, right? It's a fair criticism. Gege just has
Mm,
not given him that much attention, in that respect,
mm,
and we get little slivers of it, about owing people favors, about Gojo and who was the other person that died that he owed a favor to? Was it Yaga or something? Like,
uh,
bi-
shoot.
right? But like, Hikari has like a general gist of like what he wants and doesn't want. Um,
Hmm.
and he's like okay as a guy. Like his fight with Charles was pretty funny, dialogue wise. Like you
Hmm.
got some characterization for him. But I think as far as like what he's fighting for at this point, it's the same thing everybody else is fighting for, minus Yuji, which is just like living.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you give him the certainty that like this fight with Sukuna is gonna like like wash over and they're gonna win, and he's probably gonna be thinking about like his gambling ring again. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
I feel like maybe Hikari's intentions and ambitions are pretty straightforward. So
Hmm.
there's no mystery to it. It's sort of like Meme in a sense, where it's like as long as your check doesn't bounce, like
Yeah, and that honestly, I think Meme is a very good comparison to where maybe obviously has a point, a purpose. Like she exists for a reason, but that reason is meant to show a pretty isolated, pretty restricted part of like sorcery, right?
mm,
It's meant to show, okay, this is how like morality does not necessarily make you forego being a good sorcerer. In fact, oftentimes it allows you to be a better one, right? The money grubbing, real grimy aspect of it is very obvious, and it contrasts pretty nicely to Nanami,
mm,
right? Cool, but I wouldn't say Meme is integral to the theme, and you wouldn't necessarily say Meme is a bad character for
mm.
it. You would just say
She
that
exists.
was
Yeah,
her that was her point, right?
yeah,
And I think for all of my slander of Akari, um,
all of it.
all of it, every single
Yeah.
ounce, right? What I would never say is that like he was intended to be anything more than he currently is right now. Like if
Mm.
I'm thinking about moments, right? Let me read this just real quick. It's a little bit out of order.
Okay.
I'll let you handle Pokesels, but it's just because it fits in here.
Sure.
Demon Akatsua, thank you for being a member for 10 months. You know the dumb Naruto wasted side character discourse? I'm very familiar. Take those talking points and make them into an actual real thing. You get Kinji Hikari. So I'll say this, right? Hikari's ass. But
Off to a great
but
start. Okay.
but right, in terms of like wasted side character, I think I have to evaluate some things. Like personally speaking, right? And I'll ask you because you're more of a Akari fan, so you can give me a real answer.
What's up?
Give me a single moment in this past arc where you feel like, oh, it was a missed opportunity because Akari would interact with blank very well. He would elevate them, they would elevate him, blah blah blah.
The closest one might be Toto, but that's pushing it. Um,
And that's what? That's vibes based.
yeah, that's just purely vibes based.
That's Hikari and Toto would be fun to see on screen together.
Yeah.
Which is fun. Which is once again being cool is good for like a
Mm.
battle shonen manga. Like it's not a bad thing, but it is just to say when I think of a wasted character, I think of someone that I think could have and was sort of intended to bring
Do you have
narrative
a character
value.
like that in JJK? Like
What, a
like
wasted character?
Kashimo? Oh, okay.
No. Kashimo. I mean, Kashimo. I think Kashimo's a victim of like pacing, really. But I don't think Kashimo's character greatly is enhanced by having a longer fight. I think he'd be. I think
It would be cool to have a longer fight, but his
it
character
would be
doesn't
cool to
suffer
have a
for it.
longer
Yeah.
fight. His character doesn't really suffer for it either way. Like Kashimo getting worked wasn't really the problem. I just wanted him to be more badass,
Mm.
which to me is a large part of the appeal of him, right? So like, yeah,
Inumaki? Like who?
Inumaki. I'm like for me the grand character for me that I would say is wasted
Mm.
in a large because there are certain instances where I'm like, oh, you could have done more, right? Like I have one hot take, I have one cold take.
Okay.
Yuki's the cold take, right?
Okay.
Yuki's
Fair.
the
Yeah.
like very obviously, and I just think on that one you make Kenjaku and her much more interesting characters,
Mm.
right? Kenjaku, if he never comes back, is also a pretty cold take. Not, and this isn't to say
Interesting.
that I don't care that Kenjaku is quote unquote wasted,
Mhm.
right? I wouldn't.
But
If someone was like, no, he's not, I'd be like, you got that. I wouldn't even argue it with you, right? I just think when you make someone so important,
like at one point he was being
for-
considered, and he was in talks to be the main villain of the
yeah,
series.
exactly,
Yeah.
right? And I'm like, I think not that the themes or the whatever weren't there, right? It's more so that I'm like, and for a lot of people, Kenjaku worked, right? So this is a lot of it's going to be down to personal preference. But I'm like,
Mhm.
for a lot of it, I'm wondering, like, dude, how were you? Like to me personally, I've never even bought Kenjaku being the main villain because I'm like, there's no way Gege knows how to write a main villain,
Mhm.
right? He knows how to write a dude that's supposed to be the focus, and
Mhm.
Kenjaku isn't that. He's a mastermind, whatever,
Mhm.
right? But at least for several months, I've been like, yeah, Kenjaku's. Listen, I get it. Yuji's mom / dad, mastermind of the Cooling Games, blah
yeah.
blah 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 blah. That's cool. That's fine. But like, what does that mean when nobody gives a fuck about Kenjaku?
Mhm.
Really? Gojo kinda does. Yuta kinda does.
It also didn't help that Gege kind of double dipped with his fight with Yuki, in that respect, because okay, you cut off one character who most people would agree needed more time in the oven, and then you have her killed off by a guy that you, at that point in time, like you were the only one that knew the capacity you wanted this guy to operate in, but it was so not overblown, but like it's crazy to have Yuki versus Kenjaku in retrospect, knowing how Kenjaku ultimately meets his fate. Like,
Yeah.
black hole easy, haha funnies, or like he's cooked. Like the philosophy
Yeah.
of comedy or whatever is just too much for him to bear, right?
And I get it, and I'm sure you get like the points
Yeah.
of it all, but it is just humorous from like from
Yeah.
just like a very simple like it does present itself very very funnily.
Yeah.
One thing I'll also say is that something being wasted doesn't necessarily mean bad either. Like I don't necessarily think that like it wasted does have that connotation. I'll just say there is like a potential gap, right? There's like a gap in there are a lot of characters that I think like Gojo, not my favorite character, but I don't think you can really make Gojo any better with Gege being the writer that he is, right? Like it just doesn't happen. Gojo is written to the best of his abilities. I think Maito is written to the best of his abilities. I think a lot of characters
Okay,
are.
let me ask
Some
you
people say
something.
Nobara is wasted. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like in the same topic, right? How do you feel about people that say the themes of JJK are about wasted potential and how things are cut short before they reach their prime? As
mean,
like a defense.
Like that. Okay, so something could be the point and something not be the point. Radman said it perfectly. The point can suck, or you can just not get to the point very well. I think like wasted potential and falling short isn't really like I would actually disagree with the premise. I would disagree that the theme is about wasted potential and falling short. I just don't think that's what JJK is about. If they were to say that, I would say like cool. If that was the case, we might be able to have an argument. But at this point in my reading of JJK, I don't even think that that's the point. I think oftentimes characters do fall short of their potential for X, Y, and Z reason, but that is not the purpose. That is not the overarching narrative of JJK. Nor do I even think it's one of the main ones. So I would start the rebuttal by being like, we have to like rework the foundation of our conversation because it doesn't even work like that. Like for Nobara, God bless her, and also Mikey, don't hate me, right? Nobara is a really cool character that in a different series or not even different series, in like a different version of JJK could be elevated a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Nobara, if she never comes back, right? Just
Mm-hmm.
we're only talking in the hypothetical she never returns, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is just a victim of ambiguity. If
Yeah.
you just say she's dead, I promise you 75% of the people that feel some type of way
Mm-hmm.
about Nobara's death, quote unquote, myself included, are
Mm-hmm.
immediately like,
All that's forgiven. Yeah.
my feelings die down quite a bit,
Mm-hmm.
because the reason people feel some type of way is because, in my opinion, Gege wrote it that way for Nobara to hold out
No,
hope
he
to
had
Base.
to have written it like the fear, right, is always and continues to be Gege just wrote it like that without much thought. Like that's just how he decided to arrange the words that day. And that's
I don't believe that.
yeah.
I don't believe
No,
that.
but that's the fear. Like that's
I can't
yeah.
buy that.
I
It's the,
dude,
the thing that,
yeah.
that yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say
Sorry.
like it's me, like I'm agreeing with you, right? Like it's that's the fear. Like that's kind of the underlying, worry when it comes to Nobara. And I think what was it, like 1 or 2 chapters ago when they had alluded to Nobara's not a chapter, but the interview he did for I think it was like out of Anime X, but like where he was like, Nobara's demise or whatever, and then we're like, pump the brakes, but Buster, huh?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Nobara's coming back, and it's like, dude,
Yeah.
for Gege's sake, she needs to come back.
It's just one of those things to where, like, okay, who's a character nobody gives a fuck about? Like, not even nobody gives a fuck about, but like we're pretty sure they're dead, right?
I was gonna say Panda, but
that's crazy. I don't know. To me, it's just the ambiguity of it all, because the way it reads to me is one of two things. If he doesn't bring her back, it reads as bait, right? It reads as like,
weird.
Keep reading, hold out hope. One of your favorite characters will come back, right? And if she does come back, then it's ambiguous to allow for a comeback. Cool, fine, whatever, right? And once again, maybe I'll understand it, because I'm not gonna lie, bro. I was writing a video the other day, and I kind of had a coming to Jesus moment with a lot of Shinjuku Showdown.
Okay.
Like high key. We can talk about it when we get to the chapter. I guess because kind of where we're at right now in itself. But it was like fuck, dude. Some shit kind of like, self-glaze for a second. All right, chat, cover your ears if you don't want to hear me gas myself up for like 2 seconds, right? But fuck, I'm convincing when I'm writing a script. Like, I was writing this shit, and I was like, because when I write, I just come up with the ideas as I write. I don't really like bullet point them, right? I'm writing, I'm like, this is what I think, blah blah blah, and I'm like, as I was writing this, I was like, damn, you make a compelling argument, bro.
My
fuck.
God, dude, debate broing and then moderating and then as your own opposition being in perfect unanimous harmony, being like, yo, you're spitting, bro, my mind is like, so changed. Fuck.
High key, I was writing that shit, and I was like, dude, my God, you're a fucking genius, you're so intelligent. But regardless, right, it is just to say that I'm well aware that I can have like one thought or conversation and shit switches up, right? But as I am right now, I can't really envision a justification for Gege writing it that way. And okay, maybe he wants to write it that way to give Yuji false hope and get him to go into the cooling games. Why never rectify it? Personally, is this how I feel?
Yeah. For the audience, right? Because if you want to make the argument that he wrote it in the way that he did because it was supposed to be this quiet, confirmation, on like medical dramas or something, they just like the doctor will just show up with a frown, right? And like the people melt down.
No,
right? So imagine some guys just like, yeah.
The problem with that is that before that, Gege gave a way for her to survive.
Yeah.
Like, if this was just, hey, she got hit with idle transfiguration, that's it, and Megumi's kind of just like, he just looks grim. Okay, you put a motherfucker there that could stop her from nearly, like, that could basically halt her death, put her in stasis, and then escort her off, right? In my opinion, personally, if you just remove that scene and have Megumi react the same way, Yuji react the same way, that's damn near confirmation. It is almost pointless, once again, if you're not going to bring Nobara back, to have him enter the fray there, because it's like, damn, bro. Fuck. Like,
bro, I'm throwing my hands up. Yeah. I'm throwing my hands up in the air. Sorry about that. I'm throwing my hands up in the air and just I'm Gege, it's in your hands, but understand, like, these are the dangers, right? I've given you your warning. hopefully don't let me down for your sake.
Yeah.
Like
That's
that's all we can do.
yeah.
Like it.
That's all it is. That's all there is to do.
Like it's
Um,
very unfortunate.
we'll see though.
Mm.
We'll see. I'm like I said, I'm kind of yeah. All right.
All right.
Now I think we can just talk about the chapters, right? Or think we can
Yeah.
just talk about the chapter rather.
Real quick, Pokesel, thank you for
Yeah.
the 2 creams. You're hot. Appreciate it, bro. Go back to hitting the books, man. I
Hey, bro,
want to see.
you got
I want to see Doctor
hey,
Pokesel in action.
another Creams Glazer incoming. Get down.
Oh, what's up, Mikey? What's up, Mikey? Bro, it's like we said Nobara's name too many times. Mikey showed up.
Yeah. Another super chat, brother.
Oh, dude.
For you. Log in.
Creams, you're hot. You know what, bro? Thanks, Maxim Rax.
Yep. Maxim Rats.
Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, dude. Nobara's demise, or whatever you want to call it, her status is and will always be, until the very last chapter of JJK, be the most contentious writing decision Gege has made with a fan favorite character since I think ever. Like, okay, Kashimo, Yuki, Kenjaku. We can explain it away a little bit with apathy / like purpose in the story, right? Nobara as a character was beloved, is beloved. Let me not speak in past tense for Mikey. is beloved, was important to the first part of the narrative in like a very personal way, and her demise being so opaque, I think leaves a bitter taste. If by the end of it all, Gege's like, what the fuck are you guys talking about, Nobara? Like, she's been dead. I thought I made that perfectly clear. It's like, no, you didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that, I think would piss me off the most. Like that kind of. What do you mean? I killed that.
I would love to see like Gege and every fan like treat people that want Nobara or expect her to come back like fucking idiots.
Yeah.
Purely just because I'm curious at the justification.
Yeah.
I'm very curious.
Yeah.
But
guys, I thought I kind of thought I cooked back there. It was like a whole thing. Damn.
Yeah.
Like Gege cannot be in like an office building in Japan somewhere drawing, thinking, "Oh yeah, I killed that Nobara." Like they were crying their eyes out.
Dude, it was actually fine before you kind of almost walked it back.
Yeah,
actually.
Like bro, fucking left like all cocky. It's like, yeah, I did that.
Yeah,
that's me.
Yeah.
All right, bro. All right,
but yeah,
all right,
man.
you little one-eyed cyclops critter.
Yep.
Oh yeah, so JJK chapter proper. Can't believe this entire conversation we haven't actually spoke about the chapter that dropped yesterday. Okay.
Nope. Okay, bro. So Jacob's Ladder, right? Didn't do shit. I'm not gonna lie. While I did speculate that, I was like, nah, bro, we're gonna get something.
I did not.
Hard. You gotta know it's not gonna. You gotta know it's not gonna come through. But damn, jumping. Listen, I will say this: if we're judging this based on aura, the Fallen One ascending Angel's Jacob's Ladder is so fucking hard. Like I just want to acknowledge the good part of it first, right? There is something to be said about that shit that is just fucking cool. I'm gonna be real.
Okay, so I would like to see your coolness factor and raise you this. It would have been cool if not for the frustration surrounding Jacob's Ladder's like potency, usefulness. Jacob's Ladder continues to be one of the most confusing like technique depictions in the series, man, because every time you see it, it's simultaneously really impressive. Like it's like, oh my god, Jacob's Ladder, it's gonna fire off. We have to change everything we're doing to accommodate it. And then when it fires off, it's like, oh thank God, it was a weak one this time for whatever reason. And a part of me wonders when Sukuna was like scaling it, right? Because I actually didn't register that Sukuna was scaling it within the tube. I thought he was like dodging it around the exterior, like he was like right outside the range, kind of going up the debris. And when I finally clocked that he was going up an active Jacob's Ladder and just eating it, the coolness was mitigated by my absolute distaste for Gege's decision. Like bro, you used to be way more creative about Sukuna Kaisen. You know what I mean? Like there used to be a little bit of an out. Used to introduce like a binding vow or a hidden jutsu or a secret a cursed tool, and now it's just now he's just eating that. And I'm telling you, man, every single chapter we get closer to the Sukuna just decided to ignore it and kept on fighting anyway meme becoming a reality. This was the closest. He just ate it continuously. Yeah. And I feel like, is that not crazy?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but when I read it, I'm not gonna lie, bro. It wasn't even to me. It wasn't even the most convenient. Okay, I'll just say this, right?
Mm-hmm.
I understand because Jacob's Ladder is kind of displayed dubiously in different moments, like what it does and how it works. Because, like, for example, Jacob's Ladder, I've seen arguments that, like, oh, it's a concentrated blast that, like, chips away at it, and it's like, sure,
but bro,
I mean,
Prime
sometimes it's
15 finger Megano, just like that thing was scrambling his brains. You know what I mean? Like it's a very stark depiction on the same character. And
I mean, you can explain that away just by Sukuna not being assimilated properly and being suppressed or whatever. But you then just have to say, and like I had a little trouble squaring it away myself. But like in all honesty, part of it is just like, hey man, not even the aura, because it is cool, but it's not like Gege doesn't draw it in such a way to where the aura is overwhelming, right? Like I can ignore it and be like, oh, this is a little strange or whatever. But the reason I can kind of just like, it's like one arm. Okay, I'll put it like this: who had stocks in Angel after she got her fucking or Hana got her arm eaten? Right? Like I feel like he's not. I saw somebody say Sukuna gets aura in exchange for angels, and I'm like, when did Angel have aura? Right?
I think...
Like when like dead ass, she has not had it since chapter what 213, 212. It has been non-existent, right? I think. Don't get me wrong. I think from a power system perspective, you can maybe take more issue with Jacob's Ladder not working. But I think from a being disappointed perspective, I would challenge anybody that's like, fuck, dude, this really lowers my opinion of Angel.
No.
What the fuck was it before?
No, it's not a lowering an opinion of Angel. It's more like a confusion with the series. Like, okay, if Sukuna is just eating it, right? And it's meant as a vehicle to get you from the point he was at with Yuji Todo and Buta, then all it does is basically just serve as a carriage from that scene to that scene, and you feel like there's no actual stake, especially because he replenishes with 2 black flashes, so he arguably comes back even stronger in Yuji's domain. And, like, that's the part that kills me, because the technique itself is already, like, the portrayal is already kind of, you know, dubious, as we've said, and so there's that kind of sour taste for me going into it. But the fact that Sukuna comes out the other side, not only eating it, but stronger, feels a little, like... It leaves a bad taste in my mouth, personally. It just doesn't sit right with me.
I get you. Yeah, I think I've just reached an enlightened state. Don't get me wrong, I can understand why it bothers you in a lot of the ways.
I mean, you could have given up too, like, without realizing. You could have just given up hope, like.
That arm was important, bro. Arms make sorcerers stronger. Hence Naobito, I guess. I don't know, like
for speed, man, like.
Yeah, but I mean, how much faster does an arm make you versus, like, you know, she blew on the trumpet with both hands before, you know what I mean?
I mean, famously, the trumpet scales, like, based on how many hands you have on it. So, like,
famously, trumpets have wings on them, bro. Like, come on now. You know, it's not a real trumpet. Like, fuck. It's got cursed energy trumpet rules,
look, bro. I appreciate, like, I hope Gege pays you and the rest of his PR team well for this.
He pays me fucking amazingly, by the way, bro. If I get a commission off every volume, motherfucker, I'm gassed. Nah, but, like, it's just one of those things where I'm like, it's...
Fucking hell.
I didn't... Once I realized what we were doing, it was kind of like of course, I'm kind of stupid for thinking otherwise. And that's kind of how I categorize it, because I'm like, what has Gege been doing? If not this, what has he been doing? At some point, I'm not gonna lie, right? It's the fool me once, fool me twice sort of thing, where it's like, at some point, I do think it's kind of on me to just be like, hey man, he gave me the cliffhanger with a big move that could have killed Sukuna last chapter.
Mm-hmm.
He did it in the chapter before. He did it in the chapter before.
Mm-hmm.
He did it in the chapter before. At some point, like, you can say all of those examples are bad, sure,
Mm-hmm.
right? Maybe. At some point, I have to look inward and say, maybe maybe I'm stupid for not recognizing the trend. Because it's like, okay.
I mean,
okay. For example, you don't get mad at Black Clover when like no stakes are involved because it's kind of silly to. That's the story. Not even to say that you can't criticize it for it, but it's the emotional investment for me.
Right. Okay.
Right. It's the viscerality of the reaction.
Can I retort with two things?
Sure.
Okay. So JJK and Gege being a victim of his own success, skill, whatever you want to call it, right? Lends itself to higher expectations, right? JJK is just taken more seriously, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just generally.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And two, Gege has set a precedent for these expectations being met in a specific way, right? Like, we're talking about the same series where at one point the strongest character was taken out by reliving his glory days for 1 minute. You know what I mean? Like, this is... It's not
as Sukuna is about to. Listen, bro, that's called parallels.
All right, bro. Okay, let's leave the theory crafting for... It's a trip
go
down
ahead.
memory lane. Okay, I got you, bro. This photo album shrine gonna go crazy. Okay. So, Gege setting up a precedent for himself on top of having these expectations and demanding to be taken more seriously, I feel can't be taken back. You know, you can't just like be like, all right, guys, like this time, expect something less. Like, you know, just can you guys do that for me? Can you do me a favor? Damn, y'all are kind of ungrateful for you. Can I phone it in one chapter? Fuck. Damn. Why are y'all on me like this?
I disagree when we were accepting and you were a big fan of Takaba versus Kinjaku. Like I actually think Gege can and has shifted expectations based on like previously established things in the past. Like Takaba versus Kinjaku is in totality a dumbass fight power system wise, right? It's very convenient. It's very I guess that those have negative connotations, but what I just mean is it's like the rules are very much less set, right? But everybody kind of goes into it understanding, hey man, it's Takaba, right? This is how it is. You're kind of goofy for thinking, where's my in-depth power system analysis and cursed energy gauge, right? Now, I'm not saying that like you or anybody else is dumb for wanting Jacob's Ladder to work or have a bigger effect, right? That's not that's not the point I'm getting at, right? I'm more saying that I don't think I've given up. I think personally the wheel spun, bro. Like at some point I have to kind of be like, hey man, you gotta stop falling for it, bro. I've seen the cheese on the mousetrap, bro, and it hurts my hand every fucking time I put it in there. Every time. Gojo Hollow Purple, Maki Stab, fucking goddamn Miguel and LaRue showing up, goddamn Yuji Black Flash, goddamn Yuji Black Flash Rush. Like at some point I have to sit down, right? And I have to really self-assess, bro. I really have to look. Like for me, this is literally just a personal thing. I guess you know I'm on a podcast. I gotta talk about generalities or whatever. But like, it's really just like a fuck, man. He got me again. Like I can't. I don't even. It's the funny thing is the thing that gets me more. It's not anger. It's just that is so stupid to me. And it's like, you know, I might be slightly unhinged. Sukuna making rubble to do it is so fucking dumb. It's dumb because to me he only does that in a meta narrative.
Don't
reason.
do it, bro.
The only reason he does that is so that Yuji can follow him, because when you think about it, what was recently established like 2 chapters ago, not established, reestablished, right? That Sukuna can jump on air, that he doesn't need like a physical platform to ascend to very great heights. I mean, him and Maki just go oxygen molecule for oxygen molecule as they fight earlier. To me, it's not really criticism. I don't think I care that much. It's whatever. It's more funny, but it's like, Sukuna, you did an extra step. You made that rubble so Yuji could ascend, because In any other context, you would just hop, skip, and adjust. Like, bro, we saw him jump like 100 feet over a fucking stadium to drop an elephant on Yorozu. Brother, why did you need a foothold? Why did you need a platform? Am am I laced? Are you laced? Now, granted, honestly, when I thought about it, I'm like, that makes less sense, bro.
Like, okay,
I feel more duped from that.
are we
High key.
like, again, bro? Are the expectations not low key? It's not gutter level yet, right? We're not like down colossal, but are we not on the down escalator? Like, are we not heading down at a gingerly pace with Sukuna Kaisen? Just a little bit, because at what point does us resorting to Stockholm syndrome count as a problem?
I mean, like, is it okay? So it's just one of those things to where, okay, how should I put this, right? How do you feel about like Gojo's passing, right? Like, do you think that's ass?
No, but it definitely jarring.
Drawing for sure, right? But let's say, I don't know, what's another series you like? Fucking One Piece did that with, like, I don't know, Zoro, right? Would you consider that ass? Same structure, same whatever. It's just that's how it hard cuts.
I mean, the metaphor doesn't work one to one because I changed my opinion on Gojo's death, right? Like in a vacuum, like I spun the wheel and I adapted, right? So I appreciate it more
Sure,
for
but
what it is. But if you're talking like in a more existential sense, I get what you mean. Like it,
the point is basically, I'm sure you get it, just more for chat
yeah.
to illustrate that.
You want to know
It's
till
it's
you know.
more that, like, these expectations are tailored to the series, and on a more micro level, they can be tailored to the situation. Now, that doesn't mean chapter to chapter expect bullshit. It's more to say the Sukuna cycle, for better or worse, in my opinion, has been a lot like this. Like, okay, here's the perfect example, right? Here's the perfect example of, like, what I'm talking about. Nobody was pissed when Yuji using the Executioner's Blade didn't work because nobody thought that shit would work. Why the fuck would it work?
Wait, because
From a power system perspective, there's no reason. Curses get stronger after death, right?
from a narrative,
From a power system perspective, there is no reason that shit should dissipate, right? Unless Kaguruma didn't die, which he's been said to have died multiple times, but let's say he hasn't, right? In which case, why did it dissipate anyway? Because he's not dead, right? Okay. But we all knew it wouldn't work because it was just like, that's just silly, right? Not because it was rooted in the power system or anything like that. We all were just like, it won't work because it can't work here. It doesn't make sense. And it's like, unless we think we were in the gutter since like 20 chapters ago, which maybe you do, right? And that's an opinion, that's fair, that's whatever, right? But unless we think we were in the gutter 20 chapters ago, I'm kind of like, at this point, this is just the same thing. We may be more tired of it, but it's the same shit, right? It's the same thing. It's a power that you think otherwise makes sense to work, but it didn't because narratively it wouldn't be as satisfying or whatever.
Okay, so let me play some defense here, right? And this actually leads into Zenitsu's dono. So Zenitsu, thank you for the time.
Okay.
Are you expecting Hana to just murder Yuji and Todo then? They were caught in it too. So my problem with this, right, is that they didn't have to be in it, right? Like that was just like, if we hadn't read this chapter, right, like you're just spitballing with Gege, right? It is so within his purview to just say, oh yeah, only Sukuna gets hit with this, right? Like they don't have to follow him. He doesn't have to go up there, right? But because it was at that level of power or whatever, it allowed for him to do that, right? But it wasn't a necessity that it goes down like in the way that it did. The issue I have, right, is that unlike the example you mentioned earlier, like with Takuma and Kenjaku, right, or what was it? Like the one you just gave, the Gojo's death.
Higuruma and
yes, no, that one, yes, Higuruma and Yuji, yeah. So unlike that one, right, it's not like Angel's technique, even at her strongest, eviscerated Sukuna, right? Like the expectations weren't for Sukuna's demise; it was to move the needle forward into more of an endgame, right? The getting tired of it isn't just a culmination of like the in real life waiting, like the Sukuna cycle as a concept more broadly. It's more of a question of the Sukuna cycle in canon, like in universe, being an issue, right? So let's say Sukuna versus everyone can be summed up with the phrase, two steps forward, one step back, right? For like every two black flashes they land on him, he hits one back, right?
Mhm.
So you're at a stage where if you are able to whittle down, like if that's the strategy, right, it's just to get him to a point where you can finally like make some motion happen and stick, where he can't black flash his way out of it or domain his way out of it, or do typical Sukuna shit, then you're setting up for, I feel, like that ending, right, like that resolution to the conflict. But with every step, with every black flash he hits, with every random RCT thing he does to heal his brain, you again reset it a little bit, right? That's him taking that step forward.
Mhm.
This was an opportunity for me, I feel, to just move the needle even more into that next phase, right? And
Mhm.
the fact that he not only ate it, right, but he was able
Mhm.
to recharge and then improve and get some shit back from where he started, that's the futility that I struggle with. Because it feels like, why waste the ink, right? If nothing
Mhm.
materially changes, like, why do this, right? Why does it have to go down like this? Especially, and to Zensu's point, like if Toto and Yuji are in there too, it's like it's just the setting then, right? This isn't. It doesn't match the gravitas of the technique of like setting him up in this position of the flashback where they were planning this. It just sort of lands flat, because when
Mhm.
you see the level of importance placed on it, and you see where Sukuna ends up, even like at the end of the next chapter, you almost wonder why Gege. And I don't mean to say it so harshly, but why he would waste your time like that. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm here and I'm mulling over, right? Because I think he makes some good points. Um, I mean, I do think he makes some good points. I could maybe, I would give you that, like, because I think Sukuna getting back his arms or whatever is fine, personally speaking.
mm,
I'm actually still, even this deep into it, a proponent of like Sukuna like high key regenning a lot, but that might go against what Yegi's trying to do, so it's kind of whatever, right?
mm,
But I do think maybe it could have done with like Sukuna having his technique before getting hit with Jacob's ladder,
mm,
getting hit with it, and it like almost like acts like as a domain burnout. Because he doesn't have his technique yet, and that's why Yuji's alive,
mm,
right? Because Sukuna couldn't throw a world dismantle and split him in two,
mm.
right?
Just solve his
But that
problem right
doesn't,
there. Yeah.
yeah, that doesn't seem to be a result, at least from my understanding of Jacob's ladder. It just seems to be a result of the domain burnout, right? Which
Mm,
one thing I will say, there. Okay, so here's the thing. Here's the an interesting thing about Gege that I think just makes for him to be able to do these things without necessarily being a hard contradiction is that I think it's what you said, or what your friend who's also read JJK said, is that
mm,
JJK soft. It is a surprisingly soft power system in a lot
mm,
of ways. Like
mm.
for example, what does Jacob's ladder do?
Right. Like it. I mean, it's
Like
supposed to cancel out a technique. Like it's supposed to be the technique version of inverted spear, right?
yeah, kinda, right?
Mm,
But it like also gets rid of cursed objects, which aren't a technique in itself. But does it do it instantly? Does it negate it for the moment? Does it burn it out so
mm.
that you can't use it temporarily after?
Does it
Does
scale
it
to
blah
the
blah blah?
duration? Yeah.
Yeah. For example, look at domain burnout. How long is your technique burnt out for on
Mm.
average?
That's fair.
We don't
Yeah.
know.
It's
D-
ambiguous.
Like it, Sukuna got his technique back. What is it? One chapter after using it.
Mm,
Now, but in this one, it's been like two or three, right? It is simply put, and it's not. This isn't a criticism, right? It's just, it's more of like to me an explanation of like why some of these things are, they feel weird, but they're like technically not bullshit. You know what I mean?
mm.
Does that make sense? It's like I can't say that contradicts something, but I do wish I do wish I knew about it earlier. It's like, okay, all right, Sukuna pops off fire arrow, Choso dies, right? Toto comes in. The end of the next chapter, he has his domain. Versus here, the domain shatters in 263. He fights them, blah blah blah, right? Then the next chapter, he still doesn't have his technique back and gets popped a domain on. It's like you would. I think the thing is like you would be able to be much more scrutinous of Gege's power system writing if he gave those details. And in a lot of instances, it's like, shit, hey, Jacob's ladder is just affected by one arm, or affected by the lack of an arm, and by Hana just being like in control, or being sort of in like tandem working with Angel or whatever. Which is, yeah, I don't know. That's how I
And like,
that's how I.
it's a very fair like perspective to have, right? Gege is, for better or for worse, excuse me, using the benefit of writing a soft power system, which is you can make shit up on the fly and not have it be immersion breaking, right? But at the same time, he does that. Pretending to be a hard power system is the trouble that I have a lot with the series, because he'll get into the rules, the specific like ways domains will interact, and even like say his fight with Gojo, right? Gojo's fight with Sukuna. He'll explain certain things they do at each other in a way that is supposed to match up with what was established before. However, in this fight, right, in this series of fights rather, with Sukuna going up against everybody, that seems to be like we're getting those explanations less and less and less, and people just like the characters just seem to be doing stuff more, right? Like I think a good example of this is Sukuna made a litany of domains in like 1 second. He said he wouldn't tie his shoelaces on Tuesdays, and that's just like one panel of explanation for how Sukuna was able to like get back a domain, right? Like that's I don't know. I feel like you can't have your cake and eat it too in this respect.
I mean, I agree. I'd have to really go through JJK with like that in mind though, because there are a lot of instances where I've realized like, oh shit, some of that shit is fine, some of that shit is whatever. Some of it's recontextualized later. Like the World Slash, for example, we know he couldn't shoot off a World Slash versus Yuta, and he didn't, right? Like that thing that enraged at least me so much was like a very much like a, oh okay, we know he didn't send one. It was strong cleave, strong dismantle, like the meme, right? That was it. It was like I was like, all right, cool. I can't be mad at that. Recontextualized like 5 or 6 chapters later, and that's not to say he's done that with everything or will do that with everything. It's just to say, I think I've been, very much like Sukuna, worn down a little bit, and I'm like, I want to enjoy JJK, and I think in a lot of instances I'm like,
It's like a defense
how
mechanism.
much of defense mechanism, sure, but also just like giving it a fair shot. So like, for example, I don't know if every time I read a chapter I'm judging it entirely. No, don't get me wrong, I'm great at reading these chapters and analyzing them, right? They're like fucking fantastic.
I mean, you should get paid for it week to week.
Yeah, I mean, double jeopardy there for me. But Gege, you gotta send that over. But anyways, right? It's like it's just, there are certain instances where I'm like, that was a little reactionary. That was a little this or that and the third. And I'm not mad at people being mad at Jacob's Ladder, right? Like I get it. I think it is very hilarious that Sukuna ate that shit with very minimal damage. Don't get me wrong,
Sukuna
right? But I'm also like,
to ignore it and move on.
yeah, he climbed the ladder, bro. Shit, Jacob's Ladder is a ladder, and Sukuna has multiple arms, so he climbed it really well, type shit.
Got the
But I don't know.
promotion. Yeah.
Want to say something real quick, very different aside, just for chat. Sukuna does not shoot dismantles at all during this chapter. When he puts his arm forward or like points his hand at Yuji, he's just like almost like stabbing at him with his arms or whatever. That's not like he's not using his technique. It's still burnt out the entire time. Because that motherfucker would have opened a domain like shit, or world dismantle. But anyways, but in any case, it is just to say that in a lot of ways, I think, I don't know. Like I said, like I kind of had a come to Jesus moment with JJK a little bit. At least Shinjuku Shodown, I was like, it doesn't necessarily get rid of all problems, but it does provide a more interesting reading that I can then use as a lens to look at whether or not he did it well versus, I'm going to be honest, in a lot of ways, being kind of confused about what Gege was getting at. Not even confused so much as like just being kind of like, I have to wait and see, and I feel like enough time has passed, you know what I mean? But I don't know. Yeah. let's see.
Yeah, I mean
Um,
that's very
yeah.
fair. I think it's also pretty healthy, just for your own sake, as somebody who not only is a fan of the series at the end of the day, but also somebody who analyzes it to hell and back every
Mhm.
single week. So maybe it's a nice way to keep your brain from just overheating.
Yeah.
It's a method I'm gonna need to adopt in August. Oh my god, bro.
um, goddamn. But yeah,
Mm,
I will say on to some of the cooler stuff.
mm,
Toto getting some recognition.
mm.
That's a W.
Yes, sir.
Um,
Oh, let's read these super chats real quick.
Dude,
Um,
thank you, time.
Pineapple guy, thank you for the 5. I can't believe that brain rot about Sukuna climbing the ladder was kind of right. It's funny, but I kind of hate it. Sukuna can't keep doing this. He can't keep getting away with it.
Ah, shit, bro. He disagrees, by the way.
Yeah, Gege disagrees fully.
Yeah, yeah. The final guy, thank you for the 5 once more. In the anime, I think it's gonna be weird, maybe even bad to see these massive events happen back to back with the status quo not really changing. I personally was talking about this recently. I entirely disagree. I think the Culling Games is going to be so much more fun on an anime. I think Shinjuku Shodown is going to be so much fun,
Especially
more
with
fun with
with
the
the
anime.
shit they add.
With the
Ooh.
shit they add, because like I think, and I get your point, right? I get your point of like maybe from a week to week, it's like, damn, they did all this and nothing happened. But the thing is that a lot of it will be probably more coalesced to feel like one effort, right? So like
Mm-hmm.
for example, whereas for us, Yuta's domain, okay, let me restart. Higuruma's effort is one effort on its
Mm-hmm.
own, right? And each chapter is an effort, right? Higuruma getting slammed and awakening fucking fuck goddamn domain amplification, right? That is an effort to chip away at Sukuna in itself, and so is the next chapter, and so is the next. But for anime watchers, right, or even just us going back to watch it, Higuruma versus Sukuna, that's going to be one episode,
Yeah,
maybe if it
maybe.
even takes up the whole thing,
Yeah.
right? It's like they're gonna jump down, right? It's gonna get cut off by Kenjaku versus
Mm-hmm.
Takuba, but when we come back to it, that whole thing is going to happen in one episode. That is going to be the Higuruma episode.
Mm-hmm.
That is going to be very concise and very cool. Yuta's episode, that's going to be one episode. Then it's probably going to end with Maki stabbing. Then we're going to see Maki, maybe even Kusakabe in the same thing. And it's like it's
Yeah.
what we see in chapters now where it feels not even super disjointed, but like very isolated, will become so much easier to digest, in my
In
opinion, when you
chunks,
have an
yeah.
episode adapting 4 or 5 chapters of just straight combat. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Oh yeah, especially with like season 2 level pacing, where they were really, just letting everything cook, man. Like boosting the
Yeah.
shit that needed to be boosted, pulling back the stuff that like genuinely could have been pulled back. I think it's definitely something I have a lot of hope for. I'm weirdly excited to see how they animate Kenjaku versus Takaba, because I think
Oh,
seeing that orange fantasy scene is going to be really funny in like the color and in motion.
yeah. The orange fantasy.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
got it. You got it. You got there. I'm
Yeah,
proud of you.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah. So what did you want to move on to?
Oh, I was just saying, Toto getting recognized as a sorcerer by Sukuna. That's cool. He getting his just dues. Motherfucker is cooked. Stomach obliterated, colon bodied, right? But it is what it is. That ankle grab was devastating, by the way. I'm gonna just be honest. I'm gonna call a spade a spade. That shit was crazy. Um,
Yeah, no, bro. You know when you can
that
tell
motherfucker,
somebody's
he
just sick.
meant that shit,
Yeah,
bro.
bro. Sukuna can smile all he wants. I know he was happy to see Toto out of there. Like bro. I know he was like, "You annoying fuck! Oh my god, leave me alone!" Oh my
Yeah,
god, dude. Yeah, that is the least genuine smile I've seen Sukuna have. Just like, I don't even think he was satisfied hitting Toto. I think he was just like, "Oh, thank God he's gone."
yeah. Um, finally. And then Yuji says, "Hold on, buddy. I got something for you."
I forgot there were two of
Um,
us.
yeah, watch this. Sukuna getting the arms back, bro. Damn, that motherfucker. Those arms are so annoying, bro. When our close quarter specialist is like, shit. I mean, he's cheating. He's grabbing one of my arms, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck. And then he'll just assault me with the other 3. Like that's just not
Mm-hmm.
fair, bro. Bro's hacking.
Mm-hmm.
But the
Also,
flashback into domain, shit, bro.
yes, sir,
Shit, bro.
dude. When I tell you I got to that last panel and all I heard, like I read the lines and all I could
Mhm.
see was "Yo, Sukuna."
I saw that shit. That shit was funny as hell, bro. That shit actually, like, I actually laughed when I read that. I will say this: I'm gonna be greedy, and it's really not a criticism. Slight greed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
You?
Come on, Gege. There's no way this wasn't a double page spread, bruh. Come on, man. Come
Um,
on, man. Like, think about it, right?
mm,
What domain debut? Because maybe there is one that I can't remember that
mm,
hasn't been like us. Even if it's not the full double page spread, that hasn't been a spread of some kind.
mm-hmm,
I guess Sukuna's actually.
mm,
I guess Sukuna's fair enough, bro. Parallels and whatnot. Parallels and all them things.
mm.
Fuck, bro. I'm
It,
stuck.
bro, bro, poor Yuji, man. Like, as he does this, Sukuna gets back all his hands, so that counter domain, just not even like a full Malevolent Shrine. I mean, even something as simple as like a simple domain or Falling Blossom
Walker
Emotion.
basket.
Yeah. That's the one.
All Walker basket is that shit is not working, bro. Look at him. He got 2 arms now. That
Yeah.
motherfucker is normal.
Yuji took him back to
Uh,
school, like literally.
yeah, yeah,
He said, "Come on, Sukuna, we got a job to do."
yeah. We got a job to do. Yo, Sukuna. That shit's funny as fuck.
Bro.
But yeah, the flashback was cool into the domain expansion. More Kusagabe gas is so funny. I'm so vindicated, bro. I've been right for years. Holy shit.
Go Tsukabe.
But bro, like, listen, man. I'll just say this: with the technique, we can genuinely replace one of, I won't name who, the heavy hitters on the team, bro. Like, dead ass. Just give him any technique that he can make a domain with. That shit's hard.
Bro, can I? Okay, if you're not into some theory crafting on what Yuji's domain will be, I want to say something. I gotta get something off my chest. You guys have no idea how happy I am that this shit is not a boxing ring. Bro, dude, on like last year, right? The Yuji boxing ring domain theory I just broke. Like I don't know what happened. I was seeing it too much, but I just went off right on TikTok, and then I made it, right? Usually that gets rid of the demons. I woke up the next day and I couldn't let that shit go. So I doubled back on it. Now, some of the shit was outdated, except for one thing. This year later, I still feel that way. So if you go to my YouTube right now, you'll see the second most recent short I posted was a supercut of both of them. Because I need people to know, if I see Yuji put on those fucking boxing gloves, these words, bro, in front of me, I'm gonna be eating them. So I was jumping for joy. Oh my god, no way it cut out.
Bro does not know how to stay in a Discord call. God damn.
Bro, I don't even know what happened. When did it cut out?
Bro, you cut out the boxing ring. And you just left.
Okay, how far did I get into the boxing ring thing?
You just said last year the boxing ring domain, and you
okay.
waffle.
So the last year the boxing ring domain theory was really making the rounds, and I don't know what it was, but it was really getting under my skin. So I made a TikTok about how much I hated it, right? And usually that gets rid of the demons. The next day I woke up and I was still thinking about it, so I made another one. I doubled back. And this year, right, which, is two of these TikToks later, it was still on my mind. Because the second I saw it, I was like, fuck the Yuji boxing ring domain, actually. And if you go to the second most recent video, the short that I uploaded, you'll see a supercut of both videos together. Oh my god, dude. I hate
Bro, I mean, I don't know.
One. Oh my
I don't know why everybody thinks that won't happen, bro. A train station is supposed to get you places, bro. Where do you think they going?
Come on,
They go into
up.
They go into a boxing gym, bro. Put on the fucking gloves. Hell yeah.
Sukuna, lace up.
Yeah, chat. Y'all are gonna hear the entire thing because he left the Discord call, but that doesn't affect the stream. That just affects whether or not y'all can hear me or me. Yeah. In any case,
bro, shout out to the person who made the Discord app for Windows. You will never see heaven. Hell yeah.
All right, bro. Shifting the blame. Creams' elite curse technique that he uses every day.
Yes, sir.
But in any case,
they go
let's see.
A Waffle House is hilarious. M3D. I just clocked that.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. Like, I don't want to fall into the trap that I just said I don't want to fall into of like, oh my god, bro, is it really over? I also don't want it to be over. But whatever, right? I'm not gonna lie. When I read this shit for and I still kind of believe it. I'm like, it's giving death. It's giving
Sukuna.
Yeah, it's giving off screened because okay,
Ooh.
let me just walk you, and I'm not even trying to, I'm not saying this is the case. Let me just walk you through why it's hard to get out of my head as like feasible, right?
Okay.
So
So
let's go step by step,
so
right?
yeah, tell me how next chapter is going to open up with the double page spread of Sukuna laid out on the floor, cut in half.
That's crazy. But let's just see something, right?
Mm.
So character does like power up thing, right? Yuji rates the domain, right? In other cases, a lot of the time, Sukuna is on that end, right? You get the reaction shot, and then you get Sukuna saying, "What is this?" The same shit Jogo said when he was in that afterlife dimension in base form, of course, and he saw his tears, but was like, "What the fuck? What is this?" Right? All right, maybe that's a reach. That's a reach, right? You can say, "What is this?" for a lot of things. The angle of Yuji and Sukuna, I think, is a very, very, very obvious, like blatant callback to the Gojo thing. Like I think that's why everybody's like, "Yo, Sukuna!" Like that's where you got the vibe, right? Because I mean that's exactly what it is. The other thing that really cinches it for me personally, right, is that Sukuna's form has changed the same way Gojo's and Kashima's did when they died. Gojo
Mm.
became his teenager form.
Mm-hmm.
Kashimo became his old man form, right?
Mm-hmm.
If this is just a normal domain expansion,
Mm-hmm.
right? Why does because no, that doesn't happen to anybody else, right? You don't go into Sukuna's domain and revert to any previous form. That
Right.
really happens when you transform in death. Death being what, chat? The greatest transformation. Shout out Mahito. Um, is listen, like I understand maybe a little weird and it would be anticlimactic to end it like this. I don't even know. I don't think I want it to end like this, but it's hard to get out of my head when I'm like, personally, as of right now, right this second, maybe you can convince me. I can't think of a reason that's pretty logically consistent that Sukuna has changed his appearance other than like it's just congruent with the way characters seem to get off screened when they die in a very dramatic manner generally,
Mm.
right?
Okay.
Like do you have do you have like a are you like, oh of course you're gonna change form because Yuji's domain is
I'm not going to say boxing ring, but
no, you don't gotta say boxing ring, but something like do you
oh
like
yeah,
my interpretation is just one. I'm just curious what the other ones exist for.
I have one, and it's kind of dull. You
Mm-hmm,
remember when in the early days of JJK, people were talking about like brother no jutsu with him with
mm-hmm,
Choso and Toto, that Yuji has some kind of
mm-hmm,
memory manipulation ability.
mm-hmm,
So if Yuji is taking Sukuna like down the train of his life, like if he's literally going down memory lane, like literally
mm-hmm,
memory lane, and
mm-hmm.
this isn't necessarily a talk no jutsu, but it's sort of like a form of torture where like they can't do violence, but essentially like Sukuna, okay, metaphor into physical thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
The goal for Yuji isn't necessarily to directly cut, Sukuna intentionally. It's to go find Megami on the subway,
Oh, for sure.
right?
The thing is to me, if you find Megami, Sukuna's dead. Like that's what that
You're
means,
right,
in my
but
opinion.
it like if Yuji's figured out how to do it in like a non-violent way that Sukuna can't directly oppose, then
Mm-hmm.
that will be like I think it would be pretty poetic as like Sukuna isn't getting like out overpowered in a way that he would have with Gojo, but he's getting like out jutsued, right? Like as a sorcerer, he just got checkmated, and I think that would be pretty funny. Like I don't think this is going to be something that like fries Sukuna's brain from the inside. I think it's going to be something that is like a slow, deliberate, careful dismantling. See,
Ha ha ha
yeah,
ha ha.
of Sukuna's psyche and character.
Got you. Okay, okay.
What
I
about
hear
you?
you. I hear you. I mean, yeah. So, uh, Crivel Hub's trying to call me out. I see you. On the like, oh, Rona was just saying, don't get diluted with the Sukuna things. Don't misunderstand, right? I don't want this to be the end of the fight. Like, I don't want this domain. I like the last thing I want is for this to be the off screen and next chapter just be like the yes, Sukuna. This was our Jujutsu, and obviously it's not gonna be badass, but this was our Jujutsu Kaisen.
Bro,
Goodbye, buddy.
Gege would have to be in love with Horikoshi to do that. Like they would need to be Romeo and Juliet levels of dedicated to each other for him to do that.
for sure, right? But I don't want this to happen. It's not like I'm hoping for a thing. I like a lot of my personal desires for the story actually hinge on it not.
Mm,
But it is just it's just like it's one of those things where I saw it and I'm like, fuck, dude. I mean, what it because the way I look at it is if Megumi's free, at
mm.
least with the thing set up so far, unless Sukuna is like a merger, become my blade once
Once
more.
more.
Then if Megumi has his body back, there is no reality outside of the merger, as far as I understand, or going
Mm,
back into Yuji and making him his vessel, which would just be fucking weird.
mm.
That Sukuna is not dead. So I'm like, hey man, Sukuna, tighten up, like low key, like bro, lock in, like
Tighten
bro,
up is
lock in.
crazy, man.
Like, bro, I want Megumi to get a turn. Like, can you not die yet, please? Like, Sukuna, hold on. Don't go. Like, fuck, bro. He isn't shit.
Mm,
But yeah, that's kind of where my perspective was on the whole thing. I know about the domain hand sign. Like, I think like it's for Yuji, it's like leading people through like to a safe afterlife, to a safe passing or whatever.
mm,
That's funny as fuck for Sukuna. If Sukuna is the only person Yuji gives a proper death,
mm.
fuck man, that shit would be funny.
Yep. I can't wait, dude. I need Sukuna to be losing his mind in there because that form he's taking, right? I assume is supposed to reflect, whether Yuji can control it or not is a different matter, right? But I think it's supposed to reflect how he looked when he was trapped in Yuji's body, obviously. And I wonder if the clothes and the general demeanor were like that panic in his eyes of like, wait, where are my arms? I was kind of ready for you to hit me with some slash. Not this, anything but this. Like, bro,
Yeah.
if he goes into this kicking and screaming, like just fully, the only other person with him in that domain is Yuji. I know he's gonna be
Mhm.
clawing his face out to try to get out,
Yeah.
and I need to see that, man. I need to see him like withering.
Bro, gonna be like Twitter future, future,
Let me
tweaking out.
out! Let me out!
Yeah, that was funny as hell. Let's see. Let me read some of these super chats. I'm sure they pertain here.
Mm,
Demon Akatsuya, thank you for the 5. The train station is based on the Kitakami,
Train.
that train station in Iwate. It basically means up north and may allude to 236 go north or south. Fuck,
Ooh,
dude. I,
bro,
I would love for Sukuna to,
bro.
dude. I saw an edit of somebody showing Sukuna talking to Gojo, and he's like, "So how was Yuji?" He was like, "Yo, he was super strong." Like in the same way Gojo talked about it, bro.
Oh my god, dude.
He was super strong.
Bro,
Fuck.
can I just say, Sukuna forcibly going north against his will would be the funniest fucking thing because like it's this like poetic little flowery moment for all these other characters like Nanami and Gojo, but for Sukuna it's like no, please not north, fuck no, just like gripping the floor like with his nails like
That shit's so fucking boring.
please south Yuji, like if he says his name I'm gonna lose my mind.
Yeah. God damn, dude. I like my old self. Fuck.
Come on, Sukuna, it's time to rest. But I'm not tired.
I don't want to. No, bro. The way the Maharaga and Agito like father
Mm-hmm.
mother memes, we need to make a huge comeback. I'm not tired. It's crazy.
Yeah,
I
dude,
don't want to go to bed.
bro. If Sukuna
No.
Gay would never do this, right? But if he has Sukuna just slip in like a Maharaga, just reflexively, oh
All right,
my
bro.
god.
Let me ask you something,
What's
right?
up?
I'm curious because you're kind of at your wit's end with the Sukuna cycle, right?
Lay it on me.
If you see a wheel clink over Sukuna's head and domain done, 10 shadows been hidden in the back pocket this entire time.
Bro, just kill Yuji. Like, just
Okay, I
like,
figured.
like
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
like Gege, at this point, bro, just have Sukuna win and end the series. Like, go be with Horikoshi. Like it's just
Go be with Horikoshi. Bro, you don't think him and Fujimoto? You think him and Horikoshi are the
yeah, that's
Fair
gonna be
enough.
two retired people. Yeah, man. Fujimoto's too employed, but
fair enough.
it's just like at some point you're Gege, like you want me to root for the villains, right? Like you didn't make that clear. I got it now. Thanks. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna make that. I'm gonna turn my wheel. But never do that shit again. Like, if I ever see you in the same room as a pencil, I'm gonna break your fingers, like Charles did to that guy.
All right, bro.
Like,
All right, let's see.
what about
Let's
you?
see. Let's see.
What about you?
I'm actually violently throwing up. So
Okay, so
I
about the same.
I I think my enlightenment would probably shatter. Like I'd be brought back down to being a human again. Unfortunately, but yeah.
Oh
Let's
my
see. M3D
god.
thing with the five. This would have been Sukuna 150 chapters ago if he had to fight Super Jogo
Jogo
2 and
2.
not Base Jogo. I agree. Honestly, I personally am of the belief that like Super Jogo 1 would have done it, but I can understand maybe if Sukuna like fully incarnates, gets several power ups, gets Kamutoke and Hiten, that you maybe think it requires Super Jogo 2, but I don't know. That's just my belief. And let's see. Mozana, I think with a five. Y'all think Gege is going to use Yuji's domain as a narrative device to show Shugen's backstory? Maybe for the chapter.
Yeah.
Like,
It,
we're not getting Heian era flashback,
no.
but
I I think if anything.
Gege, please, hold on. Let me say
I got
something.
you. I got you.
Gege,
I got
please
you.
prove me wrong, bro. Please. Actually, at this point, I don't even know if I want that or it's necessary. Like
No.
high key.
Can I offer you like a bit of a scary thought about the Hayden Era flashback?
Mhm.
Would it not be? There's a chance, right? We get it, just for even a couple of chapters, and you have the thought like, oh my god, none of these guys are impressive. Like you can't.
Yeah,
Like it
could
would
be ass.
ruin the mystery, right? Like it couldn't be like, wait, what are you talking? Like, all right, bro, dark thought for you. But if you come away with it like, dude, Hikari could just eat the second strongest guy there for breakfast.
Nah, bro, it's
Like,
not possible. Like we already know Yorozu was in the air, bro. It's cool. It's fine.
like it would be so funny, right? Like it would just be humorous in a way that Gege would not intend, right? But just metatextually, it would.
Not externally.
But see the meta narrative. But yeah, bro, it would be so deranged as like a thing to. Okay, it would be like seeing a previous Six Eyes user that wasn't Gojo getting worked over at like because he didn't know purple. Like it would just be like, wow, you have all the tools, but you just suck. Like
Yeah.
like no wonder Sukuna's fine.
Shit. Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, that'd be ass.
Farmer Ryomen type shit.
Farmer Ryomen is crazy. CJ, think with the five. How would you feel if the ability of Yuji's domain had the ability to change someone's fate, like Izanami in Naruto? I don't think I'd like that. I don't think I'd like that.
That was a slow
I don't think I'd
burn.
like that. I don't think I'd like. We'll see. I don't think I'd like that though.
Crimson, thank you for the 2. Stuck at work, but I wanted to share the love. Appreciate you sharing the love
Appreciate
right back.
you, Dango. Thank you.
Caliber X4, thank you for being a member for 10 months. If I see a wheel, I'm dropping JJK, I swear to God, and you'd be so fair and valid for that, dog. I think anybody, like, if I ever meet anybody down the line, however many years JJK ends from now, right, and they're like, yeah, I had to drop that shit when I saw the second wheel, I'm like, yo, dap me up, that's so fair, that's so real. You're so cool for that.
By the way, this is something M3D said a bit earlier. That was about a conversation about like JJK's current structure. But if we keep it at a stat, getting story and weekly bite-sized chunks isn't conducive to a story like JJK. That's more of a criticism of the industry than the story itself.
That's
and I agree.
fair.
It's like you gotta get it how you live it, right? But it's one of those things where, hey man,
I mean, like, it's fair,
man.
but at some point, like,
this how we get in the story.
yeah, like, okay, if chapters released monthly, right? Because there are series that drop monthly or like semi-monthly, even, right?
Or seasonally.
Yeah, you make up for it either with page count or with a lot of shit, happening in the story. You make the thing dense, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just cram it with as much information as possible to tide your audience over for the next couple of months, right? Tagashi does something different, but that's besides the point, right? He does make it dense, though. To his credit, he does make it dense.
What a dense story.
And but no matter like what you release it in or how you release it, right? There's always going to be a level of incompleteness that is just inherent to drops like that because you're still just getting a piece of a larger thing. So this complaint will only ever be solved when the series is over, right? When all the questions are answered and when, pen is down.
But I think the thing is though, I actually disagree that JJK particularly isn't conducive to week chapters specifically because I think when you look at a lot of JJK shit, it's like, oh, that almost only hits the way that it does in some instances because you had to wait a week for that shit, or because you like, or because it was like a what the fuck sort of thing. Like for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
The 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 yo Satoru only it hits like that
Because of the break
because
week.
because of the break week, because of the, you know, the strongest has etched his name in history, whatever the fuck the editor's note said, and
Mm-hmm.
because you thought Gojo won for 2 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
and it is the slap in the face of those expectations being pulled out from under you,
Mm.
right? If you go from that to this, it's jarring, but in a different way. It's jarring in a way that is like very different than I think what Gege intended or what he was able to get from that. Take Hajime Kashimo, the god of lightning, right?
Mm.
Becomes infinitely less cool when you don't get to sit on that as the last thing you have to consume, chew on, and theorize for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
It's not to say it's not a cool moment regardless, but it is simply to say that it's a splash page. It's a find out next time on Dragon Ball Z sort of thing where it's like
Yeah.
I think in a lot of instances
I mean, that's to
JJK
boost
is
like engagement and conversation, though, right? Like that's just
and I just think a
yeah.
lot of what JJK is that though. Like I think sure, but not I don't think every manga does that.
No.
Like for example, right? I wouldn't say that even something that I would consider similarly energetic and bombastic as like a Kagurabachi or like a Blue Lock, right? I'm not even comparing qualities, I'm just saying the energy, right? I don't think they have that end of chapter bait. Not a criticism, gotta say this. They don't have that end of chapter bait in the same way that Gege does. They do because I mean that's just individual chapter manga, but it feels to me like Gege does it a lot more excessively. Does that make sense? And that's not to his detriment per se. It makes for triple domain feelings, right? Where it's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh fuck, this is the
Hard
coolest thing I've ever
spreads,
seen in my life.
120% of their
But
potential. Yeah.
it makes for cool shit like that. It makes for real flair, pop,
Mm.
drama. But the sometimes it's not even that he doesn't follow up nicely. It's just like, okay, you can't tell me. In fact, you could probably go back to when we were still like recording it, or maybe just starting streaming, where
Mm.
we talked about the triple domain. There's a little bit of fuck, man.
Mm-hmm.
I was really gassed for that shit, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. I actually Sendai Colony is actually fucking fantastic through all the way through. But
Mm.
it's like it's almost hard to follow up what you can create when all you have to worry about is pure hype and not any of the ramifications of it.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, that's how I see it, though.
I mean,
And he does it. He definitely does it on purpose. He definitely does it. I mean, Gege knows what he's doing. Gege's not dumb. He's not just a little guy. He gets it.
I mean, like he has to,
Um,
right? Because like his career is dependent on people like caring week to week, right? Like there is that incentive there. But I think it's also like M3D mentioned that it was like an industry thing as well. But even like TV shows know that like the week to week thing is better for long term return and engagement for viewers versus like the binge model, right? So
for sure.
you binge everything, you have everything, right? But you also don't really have much to talk about, speculate on, or like really work with, despite having all of the content, right? And JJK's strength, right? And this is one of the things I said earlier in regards to like Gege setting up like expectations for himself that are slightly far apart than other manga. Like I think JJK is as popular as it is because not only does he do this, but he does it in a way that is God, it feels weird to compliment Gege, but in a way that's really well done. Like it's crafted and executed brilliantly. Wow, that I struggle to get that word out. Oh, fuck. I don't even hate Gege. I just don't want to put too much on him before the series is over. I think I'm like superstitious. But yeah,
Funny guy. But, I mean, I get what you mean. I
Yeah.
get what you mean. I understand.
just tempering expectations, I guess.
Yeah. Let's see. DC YouTube. Thank you for being up for 3 months. This train is going to be the train in Akari's domain, so we get our first collab expansion. Finally making bump part relevant again. JK, keep him away. I wouldn't show up.
Bro.
TBH.
Hikari Yuji
Actually-
fusion dance in the domain is crazy. Come on,
Yeah.
what did Goten say to Trunks before they merged?
Do they have a catchphrase?
Fusion.
That's it, bro.
Like, Yuji couldn't be like, all right, we're gonna meet a friend of mine. Fusion.
Bro, like, we talked about it a little bit, but he doesn't really need it no more, bro. Like, Kari doesn't have, he's not selling anything that Yuji's buying. We'll talk about that in a bit. And then Spark, maybe the 5-0 Mega me will pop this. I'm starting to lose hope. Don't lose hope, brother.
Stay strong, man.
Listen.
For Ronan's
Here's
sake.
Here's the thing. Nah, bro. I've actually been rejuvenated with hope. Sure, I was down a little bit when I thought, damn, Sukuna might be cooked. Here's the one thing I needed to remember, bro. Kusakabe don't even have a domain expansion, right?
Okay, hold on, bro. You might beat Rowboat Ronin.
Ah, fuck. I need to be at maximum human capacity for what I'm about to say.
Okay.
Damn, bro. You really be hitting that Robo Ronin button whenever it's convenient to you. Bro. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's my bad, gang. That's my bad, gang. I thought Ronin was kind of on fire. I had to put some water on there. It should be gone now.
Had to cool me off. That's crazy. But so for Megami, thank God. Okay, but here's my mentality, right? Throughout this entire arc, switch training, soul swapping, and kind of being able to fast track the experience of like more elite sorcerers has been in the forefront of everything, right? And for Yuji, it's culminated in RCT. It's culminated in fucking in simple domains. It's culminated in better curse energy manipulation, and obviously now it's culminated in a domain expansion. Despite Kusakabe not even having a domain himself, amazing at barrier techniques, but not possessing a domain. Yuji was able to kind of like extrapolate how to make one himself. Now, I wonder which character has been, as Kusakabe would put it, experiencing extreme special grade levels of Jujutsu constantly, over and over and over and over. Now, am I saying it's Megami? Yes. Am I saying if you disagree with me and you try to slander him in here right now, you'll die? Yes. In a video game, in the chat, but you know, it is simply to say, like, you can get, and I know people would be mad if it happens. I'm gonna be real,
bro. I'm just making sure Sleeping Danger doesn't peek out of here for his own good.
They could eat a Frank. I'm not gonna lie, but you literally can justify Megami popping out here being like, yeah, bro. I mean, I've seen this motherfucker open an open barrier to name like 5 times, bro. Yes, I picked up on it. Thanks, RCT. Thanks.
Oh my God.
It's here, bro. M3D. Watch yourself. like even hinting at slandering him, your life was in danger, bro. I'ma just be honest.
Yeah.
I'ma just be honest, bro. Your life was in danger. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, don't drop a teaser trailer for Megami slander, bro.
Don't because I'll drop. Never mind.
Bro said it's Comic-Con. Ready to see this first look?
Yeah.
Oh my God, man.
God, bro.
All right. So, I guess like discussion question for you, right? So Yuji, I think this is like, it's kind of a misnomer to ask it in this way, right? Where in the top 5 is Yuji? Not is he in? Because I feel he's already made a phenomenal case for himself, right? Even before the domain, but at this point, okay, let's say hypothetically, right? You had a guy, a friend of yours that goes by the name Shattered Samurai, and he goes and he just makes like versus battles about JJK sometimes, and he's like, oh, wouldn't it be cool to make like current Yuji versus Shibuya? Hypothetically, of course, right?
Of course.
I feel as though, that video is going to be 10 minutes long of just yes. He would, yep, no, okay, yep, solved. Congrats, everybody. Let's go home.
I think the interesting thing about Yuji, in all honesty, is that for all of the higher abilities he's gotten, his physical scaling is still so ambiguous. Which is just to say, right, what does fighting relative to this Sukuna mean? Right? Do you get me? Like, what does that mean? Right? What does that...
I mean...
What does that represent? Right? Because, like, for example, we know, okay, if he fought 15-finger Sukuna, we have a pretty good estimate of who he cooks, right? But the thing is Yuji's been fighting relative to or below a lot of versions of Sukuna that are progressively getting weaker or are weaker in different ways than like he
That
previously
prevent
experienced.
Sukuna from
Yeah, that
instantly using his big
yeah,
guns. Yeah, that
his big
yeah.
guns, his abilities. Like for example, right? Like okay, Yuji is much more a relative to Sukuna now. In the beginning of the fight, Sukuna just took off and Yuji couldn't catch him, right? Okay, what does that mean though? Like, how much weaker is Sukuna gotten? How much stronger is Yuji gotten? It's really tough to tell. So, like, for example, it characters to me where it gets weird is like characters like Yuta, characters like Maki, Toji, whatever, Kinjaku, where it's like those are the characters that I think you can make an argument push him out of the top five. Once again, an argument for
Yeah.
simply because Gojo and Sukuna obviously like Sukuna obliterates him in any one-on-one full power situation. Same thing for Gojo, duh, right? And then it's like, okay, sure, let's talk about Yuta, Maki, Kenjaku, right? Those are I think that kind of like that next level Toji, whatever, right? I'm not saying you can't say Yuji's faster and stronger than them, but what I'm saying is based on what so far, right?
Okay.
He has fought alongside Yuta in Sukuna's domain, and they seem to be performing pretty similarly. Maki has fought against Sukuna in a 1v1 context in very similar instances as Yuji has, right? Kinjaku obviously is kind of implied to be relative to Yuta. Like, that's why they didn't just have Yuta run up on him, cook his dumb ass one-on-one, right? Because it's implied that, like, that fight would be pitched. It would be a pitched battle. It'd be this, it'd be that, or whatever, right? And those characters also maybe don't have resistances per se, but they're also like RCT is not something they've never come across, right? Blood manipulation is Yuji can't use that really well outside of assisting his healing. The soul dismantles, that's cool.
I mean, okay,
but like
it's not just the soul dismantles, right? But also the fact that Yuji's able to just do that in his punches, right? So like, let's say you are getting punched by Yuji, diversion fist, the whole 9 yards, right? There's only a handful of characters that'll just eat that straight up, but add the soul damage to that in a way that's intentional, and you feel like it's not like, oh, the thread hanging me in my vessel is, because if you don't have a vessel, right, it'll probably hurt more, right? Or it'll have like a worse effect when you're the only thing it's targeting and you're not Sukuna. Right, so your cursed energy reserves and resistance on top of your soul resistance are just not on the same level as him, which is every character, right? So
sure, but I disagree that the soul thing works more on people that aren't. Sukuna specifically says that like Yuji's types of attacks are lethal against him specifically because he's fully incarnated, right? Like the dismantle that only targets the barrier between me and Fushiguro soul is a lethal technique to incarnated type like myself. And the dismantle, while like more potent in nature, is just stronger and better at doing what his punches were doing before, right? It's the same principle. Like, not to say it's not gonna hurt their soul. It's simply to say like characters like this, Toji and Maki have a very strong soul to begin with. God only knows what it would do to them, right? Kinjaku doesn't fuck with them because of their soul. Toji can revive himself forcefully because of his soul. They can perceive the soul in a very similar way to Yuji. They can do to Yuji what he can do to them, maybe worse, right? In terms of like what their tools have. Toji also has a you don't use your technique no more knife, right? Yuta, I'll give you like the soul damage shit, but he's also like fighting Yuta, Rika. Like, once again, it can depend on his domain too. There are a lot of variables to where if his domain is crazy, he can probably get boosted up a lot, right? But it's like a lot of these characters so far, his domain. There's nothing to imply that his domain should matter to Toji and Maki, right? So the new domain doesn't even matter off rip. Soul damage, useful in every fight, but a lot more diminished when fighting Toji and Maki. And him getting hit means pretty much the same thing to him as him hitting them, right? It's like it's really we don't want to get hit by each other because some serious shit's gonna get fucked up that we don't even know if we can heal or not, right? Whatever. And it's not to say you can't make an argument for Yuji winning. It's just to say I personally don't yet buy unambiguous top 5 from Yuji.
Interesting.
Right? I don't buy it yet. You can make a case for it, sure, but I think he's outclassed by Kinjaku still, right? So that pushes him at best to top 4, right? He's not top 3. I think you can make an argument for Yuta. I think you can make an argument for Toji. I think you can make an argument for Maki. right? Hikari gets dog walked. Like he actually genuinely doesn't have anything in his arsenal to matter to Yuji, right? But it's like we can't even argue his domain refinement should beat Yuta's in a clash because Yuta pulled off some of the most refined feats we've seen in the story, right? Targeting one person with your curse technique is something Gojo couldn't even do in Shibuya, right? It's like high level domain feats. Kenjaku's not losing a domain clash to Yuji yet, right? At least based on the information we have so far. I'd be happy to see that change next chapter, but from what I can tell, it seems to be a barrier because he's imposing this is not the real world right now, at least as far as I can tell, unless they fast traveled somewhere. I don't know.
See,
right?
That's interesting because for me, a large crux of my thinking was because of the soul damage and how it would affect regular people, especially because, regular sorcerers or just even above average or even exceptional sorcerers, healing soul damage is a completely different ball game, right? Even Sukuna struggles with it, like capital S struggles. So the fact that Yuji's just like going crazy on let's say Kenjaku, right? Like outside of domains, right? If he's eating a punch from Yuji physically, but he's not healing it right away, right? So there is the chance for Yuji to give a culmination of damage to a lot of these top tiers, right? With Toji and Maki, yeah, I fully acknowledge that's maybe asking him for a bit too much at the moment, especially if they're all geared up. That's fair. But I think also with Yuta, unless Yuta's playing the don't touch me, don't touch me, don't touch me, don't touch me game, then I think that
which by the way is a game I just think Kenjaku plays. Yeah. I think for Yuji to touch Kenjaku, he has to get past
a
1,000 curses, right? And then whatever Kenjaku wants to add in himself of here's this pile of curses. There you go, fight that. And then here's a quick punch for me. Or if he's like, damn, bro, he's eating all of my curses. Domain expansion. Like, Kenjaku is not worried about using a domain early, and he's not new to a person that can threaten his life in a hit or two. We saw it, right? We saw what happens. Like, let's say he gets hit by that first one. He's like, what the fuck? I think my soul, oh, hell nah, right? As soon as he saw Yuki was not willing to go domain for domain, he was like, I'm not doing this bullshit with you. You're not confident in your barrier techniques. Watch me. I am, right? And so far, Yuji doesn't have the ability to kind of check him on that. His simple domain maybe can resist it, right? Like it did with Sukuna, right? But the difference is Kenjaku doesn't have a time limit, right? He can that shit'll just stay open, right? Okay, hold that simple domain. Yuji was, I'm pretty sure, immobile, right? He might have the same binding vow that Miwa had on hers, where her feet has to be stationary in order to keep simple domain activated. I don't think Yuji moved from his spot when he made simple domain. I could be wrong, but if that's the case, he's just sitting there watching that shit slowly crack over time, and it's like, okay, that's cool. Clash with Kenjaku, I don't see that ending well just yet. Once again, could change with 265. I just don't know that yet. I can't work with that information yet.
Okay, that's fair. I think we have to see what his domain does to Sukuna. Maybe some kind of loose confirmation on what Sukuna can or can't do at this point in response.
Yeah, I think so. I think that his domain, and honestly, a lot of it is, if we get a physical comparison of Yuji and other people, we're pretty much good. Like, I just don't know, like, is he okay?
Like, how
is he faster than Maki right now? Yes or no?
Oh, like, has he bridged that couple? Yeah, okay.
And I think he probably should be relative, but is he faster? Is he stronger? Is he more durable?
Is he a fighter equal to Toji? Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's not even, you can make arguments for it, right? Sure, but it's like there are some things where it's like, okay, it's ambiguous because we don't know how strong Sukuna is right now relative to other versions that have fought. In some ways he's weaker, in some ways he's stronger, in some ways Yuji doesn't scale. Like we saw when Sukuna got all 4 of his arms back, right? He could not really touch Sukuna outside of that, right? It was just, he was just getting slapped up and dodged, right? He was eating it, he was surviving it, that's cool or whatever, right? But it's like, okay, Kashimo did that. right? And it's like, does that mean he's physically? Where does that put him? Kashima did that to a not soul damage Sukuna. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just to say, could you definitively tell me one of those is stronger than the other, or
Right.
how close they are? Is this Sukuna 90% of his full power, 80%, 50,
Mm-hmm.
30? Like, you know what I mean? It's just, it's it's one of those things to where it's so ambiguous,
Mm-hmm.
it's almost impossible to determine. Yes, for sure he is blank in terms of physical abilities. His hacks are really good. For example, the reason I think he beats Hikari pretty soundly is that even with you don't really need to rely on Shinjuku showdown feats for the most part
Mm-hmm.
to like put them relative. Hikari just doesn't have any AP that would do anything to Yuji. His domain is non-lethal or whatever, that's fine. Yuji just opens his after Hikari opens his. He has a simple domain, so if he wants to counter it like that, he can. He has RCT, so even if Hikari does do like his pillow punching damage, it doesn't really do that much, and he can heal for most of it. And then Yuji does soul damage, which until we see an explicit confirmation that Hikari can heal the soul, it will just wear him down even in Jackpot. That shit will not heal.
I like while that's true, right? I think I may have. Okay, I agree. Right, I think you've convinced me in that respect. Where I think I would hold off is I would want Gege to confirm what exactly Yuji is doing with his punches, because I've had it in my head that what Yuji is just a human version of the Soul Split Katana, but with like a blunt, his fists, right? And he can make it a knife with dismantle and cleave, but generally, Sukuna, Yuji hits you, and it's like Maki hitting you with the back of her katana, kind of feeling, and
Yeah.
in that outside of Vessel or whatever, the whole point is that it bypasses durability and goes for the soul directly, which is like even if you block it, you take the proportionate damage. So that's where the bias came in.
Gotcha. And I feel that. I mean, and it's not crazy to say that. It's just it's like I don't even know because we just don't see it used on other characters. So it's fair to say that hey, maybe this is like a specifically anti-Sukuna usage of his ability, right? He's just determined not to be strong in a vacuum, but to be strong against this guy, and that's a fair one. Now I see Lemillion. You say 264 Sukuna is stronger than Goda. How strong is Goda, right? How is he stronger than the Yuta we see fight Sukuna before? Your knee-jerk reaction may be yes, right? Because he's Gojo's body, the Limitless, whatever. But then you say, well, he doesn't know how to use it as well as Gojo's body.
Even with the switch
We
training, yeah.
We don't with the switch training, he can't use the Limitless as well as Gojo. He can't even aim a blue right off rip from a distance. How would you even begin to determine that he's using blue on every punch like Gojo is? You can't. There's no way to determine that, right? You can't even say for certain that Goda, in terms of physical strength, in terms of physical feats, is better than Yuta.
Yeah.
The one that we see fight before. Now, the reason Goda is so useful because he has techniques that are very strong. He has the domain, and it also keeps Yuta alive longer, right? So Goda doesn't even have to be objectively stronger physically than Yuta in order for this to be a useful effort on his part. But it is just to say, once again, you're stronger than a person whose strength doesn't really scale. Is Goda stronger or faster than Yuji? I don't know.
Yeah.
Right? It's impossible to say.
And also the 5-minute timer kind of works against him because it gives us a very small window into what he's able to do and for how long.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff up in the air. That's fair. I think also this is one of them soft power system moments.
Yeah,
what
for
you
sure.
alluded to earlier, because a lot of these questions, like if Gege was writing more like Togashi levels with Nen and shit, like we would just have definitive answers to a lot of this.
For sure.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Let's see. I think we
Let's
ended.
see.
Oh, Commandant Spark, thank you for the 2. I know my goat will prevail. I feel it in my bones. I'm gonna assume he was talking
Yes,
about Mega
sir.
Man. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Of course he is.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Didn't Yuji tank Malevolent Shrine for a few seconds? We can't use the word tank like that.
He
got cut in
resisted.
half, and
Yeah.
the simple domain lasts, right? Like it's a feat. Don't get me wrong, but he literally part of his body immediately comes apart and then it stops, right? Like don't get me wrong, it's cool, it's great, but once again, what does that mean for a lot? Okay, like for example, right? Maki gets hit with point blank cleaves and it does no damage. Yuji gets hit with like cleaves and stuff and it rips his face off. But it's is the Sukuna that's attacking Yuji stronger or weaker, right? Is this Sukuna that like okay, he just got backslash? It's ambiguous.
Yeah.
it's a little bit hard to tell in certain instances where it's like, okay, Yuji's amped up off the black flash juice, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Maki, he gets hit by two black flashes, a cleave, some dismantles or whatever, and it's like, okay, that's cool. So Yuji gets hit by, Malevolent Shrine for a little bit. Let's say his durability is better than everybody on this list besides Sukuna and Gojo. That doesn't matter against Toji and Maki, just straight up. And then, durability is one very important part of the battle, but it's not everything, right? The next people he'd be facing are like Kenjaku and Yuta, two people who I don't doubt would be able to whittle him down if they need. Like if all Yuji had in contention was durability, not saying that's all he has, but if that was everything, Kenjaku's got a lot of curses. Yuta's got a lot of ways to wear someone down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are a lot of ways to skin a vessel, if you will. And I'm not necessarily saying that Yuji isn't top 5, but I will say that I think while he's a shoe-in top 10, I think when we say he is top 5 for sure, I'm like,
you want to review his application. I get it.
I want to review his application. Let me see what experience he's got. You know what I mean? Let's see. And he's been putting on a show. He's been rising up the ranks with each and every like new ability shown for sure. It's just to say, the top 5 was the top 5 for the reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's very fair. That's a very fair argument. Let's see. I think I saw it. I saw a chat. Yeah. Maria. Oh, I can't read Cyrillic, but Maria. This domain is just the scene for Mio to pop off. I clocked that earlier, and all I've been thinking about is, Yuji taking Sukuna down like a series of stops on the train, and like different people, fucking like, oh my god, it's my friend Hikari, fusion, huh? And then the next stop is like, this is Miwa, and Miwa's like, just slices him. Fucking
that shit. That's what we need. That's what
bro, the stop after that, you just see Shoko there, just lighting a cigarette out on him or something like.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, you don't have to say yeah like that.
No, bro. I need Miwa Kaisen Part 3, brother. Canon edition. But yeah.
Black XC, thank you for the 5. Off topic, but what's your opinion on the new Bleach game? 3 character trailers just dropped, and I wish Cursed Clash looks this good.
Dude, I've been jumping for joy. Fuck, dude.
You, bro.
Oh my god. I will sacrifice Creams' immortal soul for this game, bro.
Right, bro.
Get it to me one day early, and it's worth it.
Yo, is it an arena fighter?
Yeah, but it looks good though.
What's up with like the arena fighter fever? Like why did anime studios land on that as a genre?
I mean, what genre do you think would universally fit Battle Shonen more? Like it's just a plug and play template that's easier.
I mean, that's fair.
I imagine. Then like I think you could say like maybe RPGs, but those require a lot more effort, and effort means more money and less money.
CJ, thank you for being a member for a month. Can you explain why Yuji's domain hypothetically having fate manipulation would be bad, BR?
It's not that I don't think I said it would be bad. I said I don't think I would like it. And the reason I don't think I would like it is because I don't really think that Yuji's had any connection to fate explicitly in the way that you compared it to Izanami. Like I think if you were to say like I think the closest thing would just be that he is current, like that maybe that is a what's the word I'm looking for? It is a post-death interpretation of the events, but in terms of like a physical real power, like that, it strikes me as like very similar to like Takaba's just like reality manipulation, but for no real reason, right? I don't think Yuji's ever had a like a fate changing sort of, like he's not Ichigo in that regard, right? Ichigo very, very blatantly throughout the story seems to have that narrative going for him in a lot of ways, where it's like break the wheel of fate with his strength and all that shit, right? Yuji doesn't really seem to he doesn't strike me as the type of character that power would fit super compactly with, but that's just a theory.
A game
theory.
Thanks for watching. Okay, so hold on, let me ask you something, because the JJK Battle Arena came out and it sucked, right? Dead on arrival type game, right? Based on what I saw and based on what you said, having played it. So what makes for a good one? Like what is being done in say the Dragon Ball ones that isn't being done here?
Quality.
But what is like?
It,
Is it the moves? Is it the feeling of like what
it's
is it?
gameplay, graphics. Like, I mean, that, honestly, those are the basics, right?
Mm,
I'm no game head, but I mean, like, Curse Clash, you can see it was cheap from the way it looked, right?
mm,
It also doesn't really have combos. Your attacks don't do damage if they're not specials. Stupid as hell, but whatever.
okay.
Um, yeah, I mean, it's like it's a very intuitive thing. I'm not gonna lie. It's like you play both and you instantly feel it's just jank, right?
Okay.
It's almost like don't get, like okay, if I said what's the difference between a good car and a bad car, right? One drives better, it's smoother, it's more intuitive,
Better mileage. Okay. Okay.
better mile. Like it's more content, bigger roster, or more in depth roster with differentiating moves.
Bigger
That's like
bags and
it,
shit. Okay.
yeah, stuff
Gotcha.
like that, right? Yeah,
Okay.
that's what it means.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Huh.
Mm.
That's an interesting little thing. I've never played one. So I'm
God, bro, I can't wait to beat your ass in fucking Sparking Zero. And post Naruto read, bro, if you really fuck with it, as you need to if you want the pod to continue. We can run up the Storm games too, bro. That'll be an experience.
Uh,
But
I
anyways,
thought you were gonna say Jump Force. Okay.
I could beat the piss out of you in Jump Force too, but I don't really I don't feel like giving them more of my money. Also, I think the servers are down probably, if I had to guess.
Mm.
I don't know.
Even on PC? Huh.
I have no idea, but
Uh.
it strikes me as the type of thing that would have their servers down.
Okay. Huh. Let me see something. I think we answered most of these on the
Yeah.
yeah. Um. I think that's kind of it. For the
Yep.
for the day. I think W podcast. Appreciate you guys
W
bearing with
podcast.
us. On
Mm-hmm.
this Monday evening, we are now officially 100% back to our regularly scheduled programming. Even Gege is not on break this week. Thank
Yes,
the gods,
yes,
bro. Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
So
So yeah, thank you guys for coming out. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all. For all the members, we will see you guys on Thursday
mhm.
for another glorious and not rage-induced Elden
Yes,
Ring
sir.
stream.
I think we
Hope to
got,
see you guys there.
according to Troop, we got maybe one or two before the finale. So if you guys aren't locked in for that, you want to be there for the big final boss fight, whatever that may be, or fights for all we know. Then tune in,
Mm-hmm,
tap
mm-hmm.
in. Tana runs after dark, baby.
Yep. But yeah, thank you guys for everybody that donated. Appreciate you guys. Everybody that chatted, showed up, liked the stream. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. We will see all the members on Thursday, and for everybody else, we will see you guys next week with hopefully another amazing JJK chapter to accompany us.
Appreciate you.